handling the whole show, dude. Yeah, no, we got the boys here. We're filming the vlog right now.
What's up, guys?
We got the boys in the
Hey,
back.
what's up, guys?
And
Hello, gentlemen.
rainy ass Vancouver. So we're literally we got a setup right now. So chat, hi. I hope you enjoy the show. It's just gonna be the two boys. And when you guys are done, just shoot me a text message and then I can end the stream.
All right, thanks, man.
All right. Love you guys. Have fun.
Love you too, buddy. Bye.
You too. Best of luck, dude.
Wait, how do I?
He doesn't know how to get out. You're stuck.
He's trapped.
Dude. Wait.
And just like that, he left. All right, man, let's do this.
All right, you ready? It's like I said, when Dad's away, the boys will play. This is the biggest mistake. We can copyright strike this whole thing. We can bring it down. It's going to be nuts.
We have all the power.
All the power.
That's so cool.
Too.
I did not expect that. He was like, do you guys just want to go live anyway? And it's like, fuck it. Sure. We got to keep track of the chat. What's up, guys? How's your night? How's your day going, Dash?
Yeah, good. Look, I just watched Theory's vlog, and he some of the stuff, because we already know it, was really wild to see all behind the scenes. And then, yeah, he obviously talked about the guys trying to block him from the convention. So that was wild as well.
Yeah, I don't know the details on that. I just saw like one article or something like that on Twitter. It was like the people in the Nashville Expo, and by people, like probably four outliers were like, we don't want him here. But I mean, you can't really stop him. And just I posted on Twitter, I know you saw it. If you don't want to talk to him, just don't, just walk away, walk past the booth. There's nothing that says that if you go to a con or an expo that you have to talk to Star Wars Theory. If you don't want to say what's up to him, don't. Like, it's as simple as that.
Yeah, I have a couple of thoughts on that, because I think that everybody has a right to express themselves and say, like, we're not above criticism. If you want to say, hopefully in a respectful way, you should fix XYZ, or I don't like you, or I don't want to see it, that's cool. But thinking somehow you're entitled to like overthrow a dude who has many employees, who's just trying to sell sabers, by creating this false narrative of the ists and the isms or whatever they were accusing him of, like just the swath of like words that people use to weaponize, like, don't let this misogynistic, sexist race, whatever, dude. And a lot of companies are very reflexive about that. They go, whoa, we don't want to be in league. We don't want to prop up people who are seen by the community as, obviously these things, because they don't want to get canceled themselves. And so it's really disingenuous, I find, because obviously I've never seen him, or really anybody, I've never seen anybody in the community say something where I would go that it's any of those things. Like, they'll say, I don't like a movie, or I don't like a character. They've never said like, oh, Rose Tico shouldn't be in the movie because Kelly Marie Tran is like Asian and she shouldn't exist on this planet. Like, I'd be like, what? What? That's like 3 steps too far. Saying I don't like Rose Tico and she was written poorly, cool. If you don't like her acting, cool. But like, I've never seen people go over the line. But I don't think it matters for the internet, because it could have ruined him. And he handled it pretty well, because he gets it all the time. But I was just like, dude, this is wild.
I mean, obviously there's outliers for sure. I mean, I totally buy that there are people out there that didn't like Kelly Marie Tran's performance because of her race, but that's stupid. And I think we can all agree that that is stupid. But there's a difference between saying like, hey, I don't really resonate with that character, or I don't think that that's a very good character. That doesn't automatically make you, racist or anything like that. It's just, the internet is a world of extremes, right? It's, if you say something like, hey, Theory doesn't like this thing that I like, so I have an issue. Like, no one would really respond to that. But if they really blow it up and they're like, this guy, it could be anybody. It doesn't even just have to be Theory. It could be anyone, but making a ton of assumptions and drawing this line of he doesn't like Rose because of this reason. And then it just snowballs into falsehoods, I guess.
Yeah, it's easy to morally grandstand and to say things that people are reactive to. And the internet's very superficial. So you don't like research into it. You're not going to watch 400 videos to see if he's ever said anything unbecoming. You just go, oh, that he's got prejudice and he's evil and he should be removed, blah, blah, blah. So I found that very disheartening, to be honest, just because I don't know, since I've come back to the fandom, I found that not only are we people are expressing that they aren't enjoying Disney, or they love Disney, whatever you want, but there's also, I think you can speak to this, an internal fight between it's more divisive than ever. Like back in 10 years ago, if you told me that creators were attacking creators, it's like vampirism. You don't kill one of your own kind.
No, it's like the unwritten rule.
Right. You can criticize people, but I'm talking like above and beyond.
Target them. I mean, that's what it is. It's targeted harassment. But we should probably explain where Theory is. We have taken over the channel. It is now ours. No,
that's all I need to know.
He's preparing for the Vancouver Expo. So he's with his team right now setting up. So that's where he is, in Vancouver. So and we're here.
Canada.
Canada.
He's in the car.
Yeah,
I Googled it. Stoops is like, are we going on live? And I was like, didn't he say, like, isn't VC Expo today? And you were like, is it? And then he's popped up in the car and he's like, shit, it is. Like, we're gonna let's go. Yeah. It's so funny.
We got a few super chats. Piatti Diddy. We're not gonna be able to pop them up on screen because I don't know how to do that. I don't know if it has to go directly through Theory. So, but we're gonna read them anyway, guys. Stoops just listened to your year one Vader vid, 11 out of 10. Thank you, man. That video took a long time and there were a lot of people working on it, and I'm very proud of it. Thanks for watching. Truthfully,
just so people know. So Stoops' year one Vader vid, to break it down, is your videos, I would say, what are they, 8 to 20 minutes long in a normal lore video?
Yeah, about that.
How long's Vader year one, like, and what is it explaining?
It's 2 hours. And it's the legend. Yeah, it's the Legends timeline of Vader from, I mean, the second he gets into his suit to the end of his first year. So I'm pretty happy with it. Like I said, we had a few people working on this one, and I'm so happy with the way it turned out. We've been experimenting with longer ones. We did one called Origin of Evil, which is the Legends timeline of the Sith, and that was 2 hours. And then we did, have you heard of Supernatural Encounters, Dash?
No.
Really? It's like a pseudo-canonical book that was supposed to be published under the Legends banner at Lucasfilm for Disney. But apparently somebody, I don't know all the details behind it, but apparently Disney came in and they said, you can publish this on your website, but we're not going to hold it under the Legends banner anymore. So it's one of those things that's in limbo. But
yeah, I saw a couple of them. Yeah.
But anyway, it's the it shows the formation of the Star Wars galaxy and sort of the origin of the galaxy. And that video is 3.5 hours long. We read like a few of the Supernatural Encounters books and tried to consolidate it and give, this person's version of the origin of the Star Wars galaxy. But yeah. How about you? What are you working on your channel, man?
I've been working on a 10-year plan, as we always talk about. Invariably, people go, what would you do if you were on Star Wars? Anyway, I thought, how do I cobble together, and I'm going to show you in theory before I put it out, how do I cobble together a timeline that doesn't, I hate to say it, doesn't mess with canon. So goodbye, like NJO and all that stuff. But also it is like, remember what it was at phase 1 to 3 or 4 with Marvel, where it peaked at Endgame?
Yeah.
Something like that. Because I don't want to say respect. I respect or I understand Disney's direction that they've taken with the timeline with videos. And what I mean is the smartest thing to do is to continue the Skywalker saga and do the sequels. The next smartest thing to do is another trilogy, because you have at least 6 years with the 2-year releases to buffer something out. And the next smartest thing would be to go back to the origin and then start filling it out. And they're doing all of those things. So they're really chewing into the good parts of the timeline.
Yeah, trying to copy that like Marvel formula, which I've always thought that would work for Star Wars. I always thought that just the build, you don't think so? Just the build up to one big event movie.
The event, yeah, okay. So the event, 100%. I think when I think of Marvel formula, I think of the structure in which they had made their movies too similar to the point where it would be like if George Lucas, so the George Lucas formula is what they used for the sequels and called them a soft reboot. Now, if they did that, people didn't like that. If they did that again, that would be the Star Wars formula. That's, in my mind, that's what the Marvel formula is they found a winning kind of storytelling narrative structure, and they just copy pasted ad nauseum, except for something like Winter Soldier, where they stepped out and it went well. But yes, but to your point, I would be following that formula. And what I was going to do, I'll talk about it now if you want to, and you just give me your thoughts in real time.
Sure.
Is I would start with Bane, Old Republic, and start with the Sith, end with the Jedi. And the reason being is because people I don't feel understand the Sith as well as somebody who's dove into the expanded universe. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, a lot of audiences think of them as just the conventional villains. They don't have a lot of the depth to them besides Vader. But like, yeah, your point, right. Bane is a super great entry point. I think I see where you're going.
And so what I would do, but I'd also have TV shows, but you wouldn't have to digest them, because I think that what Marvel did with Loki, trying to couple it back into the main universe, or WandaVision, I don't think that's fair. I don't think you should have to watch WandaVision to understand Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. So right. I would do Bane, but I would do a television show about Tales of the Jedi with Exar Kun and his exploits and meeting the Sith Lords. Does he meet Mark Aragnos and such? He goes to the Korriban at one point and gets his ass kicked. Anyway, so you have that in the background, and also say Revan with Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, and then a TV show about the Old Republic, the Zane Carrick saga as well. So it's kind of like a prequel, all happening in the background, and that's about 5 years blocked. Then I would jump forward to Dark Forces. And the reason being is because Kyle Katarn, after Dark Forces, is not Mysteries of the Sith. It's Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight. And when he deals with Jarek in the Valley of the Jedi, that is where Darth Bane released the thought bomb on Rusan. You know, he got the Sith Empire and the Jedi all caught up and all their spirits together. So Bane and the Jedi Knight series tie together.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, so
there's
you sort of solve the timeline problem in a way too, because you're connecting something from the past to something in the future, and not just dropping stories that don't have anything to do with
right. So there's an interconnection, and so then I would do obviously iJedi first before Outcast, because then you have the tentpole of, if you've watched Tales of the Jedi, you don't have to watch Tales of the Jedi to see Exar Kun is the big bad for iJedi, but it then goes from Sith Lord, maybe a Plagueis TV series in between to really sell it. But then the Jedi Order that Luke sets up, that is so valuable. So then the new Jedi Order's fighting the spirit of Exar Kun, which you've seen him and his exploits. And then obviously Jedi Outcast and Academy ends with fighting Mark Aragnos and Tavion. But Tavion and Desan, I think, are really good villains in and of themselves. So the Mark Aragnos tie-in at the end, it would be such a build to go from Sith to Jedi, but also Sith is the big bads that people understand. I think, and that's the best I can do without bumping into the sides of what Disney's created too much.
Sequels, yeah.
So you don't hit the sequels. You set up, then they could go into Luke's Jedi Academy with a TV show or more movies, but it sets up the new Jedi Order, not that in canon, in EU, but it sets up the future, but also they could go play around in the Old Republic as well. So it gives them two differing timelines, but also there's a through line of big bad Sith that we watched their rise and then their fall.
And it makes them relevant, I mean, to the future. It's not just like popping around like we were talking about. No, I like that a lot. I like the idea of Star Wars focusing more on the Jedi and Sith moving forward, because even though I like stories like Andor and Book of Boba Fett, I've always felt that the real heart of Star Wars is obviously in the Force. And there's sort of been a lack of that recently. The biggest Force-based thing we got was Ahsoka. And even that just doesn't quite hit on the level that I think we all want it to. Yeah, I would love to bring it back to the Sith and the Jedi. It feels like Disney is scared to touch the Sith, man. It really does.
Yeah, and it's so strange that they'll just like, we'll do bastardizations of the Sith, whether it be the Acolyte or that game, was it Eclipse, that they never, everything, the High Republic stuff, or even Jedi Survivor, the games where it wasn't the Sith, it was High, like Jedi Order, whatever it is, High Republic. Nothing. It just felt like they're so afraid of the thing that, like, I'm listening to Plagueis at the moment, and James Luceno is a freaking mastermind. It is actually the best written novel of Star Wars I've ever. The way that he describes things and he interconnects them is what really kind of was the impetus of me starting to write this 10-year plan with the series and whatnot. But it's there. I'm not a genius. You could literally have George Lucas. I know. Welcome to the jungle, of course. But a nutless monkey could just take the best legends and make great movies. You know what I mean? Like, it's written.
No, absolutely,
It's like, I don't like Zack Snyder per se, but when he made The Watchmen, and it's basically pain for the graphic novel, it was phenomenal. And
I think the director's cut of Watchmen is so good.
So good. So I'm just like, compared to the cobbled Justice League, if he just did The Dark Knight Rises, which is my favorite Batman movie, the animated version, because it was Frank Miller's graphic novel, just, shot exactly as a cartoon. If he did that live action, there'll be no losing. Like, everybody in the industry always goes on, it's just about the written word, it's about the script. And I'm like, you have it all laid out. We all said this when Disney first took it. I honestly believed that they wouldn't be that, I don't know if it's prideful or just dense, or there's got to be a nicer word to say. How could you be that, like, how could you look over all of that pool of great lore and storytelling? Why would you do it to yourself? Why would you try and reinvent the wheel when there's a reason why people are so rabid as fans,
Yeah, I mean, I think they just set the tone with The Last Jedi and stuff, with the whole reinventing the wheel. Like, even from Luke's dialogue in the trailer, this story doesn't go the way you think it will. Do you remember how much they hammered that line home? And they were like, this is the whole point of the movie. So this isn't something that was a narrative that changed. This was their plan from the beginning, to make Star Wars different. And that's just so unfortunate too, because there's a lot of good stuff that they're just not choosing to pick from. And I think that it's being proven now. The fact that they just introduced their first Sith, which is Chimera. I think he's the first Sith in live action since they bought it, right? I mean, he's the first solely Disney Sith Lord. And I mean, he resonated with some people, and he's not the worst part of an awful TV show, but I just think it shows that they're really reluctant to even tie back to characters connected with stuff that they didn't make. And it's super unfortunate.
Unless they need to leverage it, and then suddenly the legacy characters are like,
and then we get Luke.
Just dangle. You get decrepit Luke. I actually had a guy on the channel. I said, "Is Disney dead?" And then he commented, and he broke down so succinctly what they do to the characters and how they make them washed up and to kind of be a springboard to their own characters. But he articulated something that we've all felt for so long, or most of us. I don't want to speak for everyone. I was just like, this is insane where we're getting to this point where they're all just springboard characters, if that makes sense. Like, they're like, well,
no, totally.
We'll begrudgingly put Luke in something, or when they were going to put instead of Leslie Headland's wife, they were going to put Yoda into the Acolyte just to dangle a little Yoda-y goodness, or dangle Grogu in the new Grogu in the Mandalorian, which is the worst title, the worst concept I've heard of in so long. Like,
what do you
he
mean
did
by
his mission.
concept? Just like, I hear what you're saying. Like, this story is over.
It's a buddy cop. It was a buddy cop road trip story, and it's concluded. They should have given him to Luke, and Luke should have trained him, and that should have been the springboard for the Jedi Order to have a look under the hood before Solo has a freaking nightmare and farts in his sleep, and Luke decides to end it all. Just he's like, Ben, are you awake? And he goes, kill him. It's like, what? Anyway.
Yeah, for real, man. I mean, no, I agree with what you're saying. They even, all the sequel trilogy legacy characters, it's all to further Rey's story. They're all like, Han Solo is instantly like fascinated by Rey. Luke finally agrees to train Rey. Leia finally agrees to train Rey. And I think the thing that was so disappointing about the sequels is their relationship to Ben Solo was always so much more compelling to me. And the amount of time that gets in comparison to just talking about how great Rey is even is just so sad. I mean, we even just get a few lines of it in The Force Awakens between Leia and Han when they're not busy talking about how fucking awesome Rey is. And then in The Rise of Skywalker, I know everything with the passing of Carrie Fisher was unfortunate and they had to work around it, but it's all just to further their character and to hold their character up. And then it's like, she's a Skywalker. So not only are they trying to elevate their character, but they feel the need to bring all the legacy characters lower in response just because they feel like that makes Rey look so much better. That's not the way you write. That's not the way you write a compelling character.
I don't want to hear that again. It's undermining. It is. They undermine the goodwill. And, you know, you see all this rhetoric and stuff about like anger, and people are like, you know, woke. I try not to use words like woke and stuff because I feel like a true victory isn't to alienate people, even if I don't agree with them, even if they're diametrically opposed to my viewpoint. It's to bring them over through logic, compassion, and reasoning. So I try not to say like woke, but people say, oh, woke storytelling, they can't create anything, so they just bastardize and use. And you do see that they begrudgingly leverage characters and storylines from Disney, but they hack at the characters. Like you said, washed up Han being subservient to Rey's greatness immediately because she figured out something about his own ship, which he somehow let go, but presumably he worked on for how many years, and she suddenly knew,
decades.
even though she was on a junk planet and barely would have used, she thought it was a piece of shit. So why would she know, like, I'm not even going to go there, dude. I'm not going to logic rabbit hole that, because you just hit these barriers really quickly. It's like, oh, you just wanted to prop her up, but that's not how you write a compelling character, because she just wins at everything. There's no stakes. There's no anticipation. There's, oh, okay, Rey's going to get through this. Rey's awesome.
It just makes no sense. I mean, in the originals, they didn't feel the need to like push Obi-Wan aside and make him look dumb or incapable. Or, you know, Yoda is an even better example. Like, Yoda's very competent. He's clearly very powerful. And that isn't to illustrate how great Luke is. It's to illustrate how far Luke has to go to become what he needs to be.
That's awesome. That's a great way to put it.
But Rey is already there. I mean, like, on Jakku, she's already noble. She's the most kind person in the whole galaxy. She can solve anything on the ship. And
she puts her ass on the line for a robot, a BB-8 droid, which, like, you know, when she's talking shit about that dude with this force pike that's on the animal that tries to capture him with the net, and she's like, he's just Tebow or whatever. He's an asshole. And it's like, who's going to be like brawling some random dude over a droid? Like, wouldn't it be fair? She's a scavenger, for fuck's sake. Like, that's your whole shtick is stealing stuff, like scavenging. You see a droid, you'd be like, this is going to feed my family for a month. And she's like, screw that guy. I'm going to get you poor whittle droid, patting it and stuff. And I'm like, okay. Remember how they sold BB-8 so hard before the movies came out, because we were so rabid for a new anything. We're just like, give me an astromech, anything. Even then I was like, I don't know about a double ball-headed droid. This is a bit weird, but okay.
Did you like The Force Awakens when it first came out? Because I the first viewing, I was super disappointed because I wanted to see Luke more than anything. And I felt like the whole movie built to the lightsaber going out of the snow and going to Luke's hand. And
which
Luke,
Hamill said.
right. But I mean, even sitting in the theater, it just made sense that that is where narratively you would introduce Luke Skywalker to your story. And then when it went to Rey's hand, I was like, okay, that's an interesting choice, but you justify it. You're like, she's coming into her own. She's the main character. It makes sense that she would fight the bad guy. And then, she mops the floor with him. And I know that he's injured. And I said this on Twitter the other day. A lot of my issues with The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens and the sequels in general, they do have narrative reasons for why things happen in the story. But that doesn't mean that they're good reasons nonetheless. I understand why Rey is as powerful as she is. And I understand why narratively Luke went to Octo. But it still doesn't make sense for the story. And most importantly, it doesn't make sense for the original 6, which is my big issue, is that it doesn't connect to the original 6 in anything other than just the way characters speak, not like how they act. They feel completely foreign, but they reference events, but that's sort of where it ends. It doesn't feel like they actually lived them in a lot of ways. Han Solo, I really don't think that he would go off and just abandon his family the way that he did after everything that he learned from the original trilogy. You can still have that character be a smuggler and be tough, but it just seems like all the writers are like, all your heroes abandoned everybody except for Leia, and now it's about Rey. And that's just disrespectful.
I agree. It was disparate and there was no cohesion in the storytelling. JJ had a through line that he wanted to follow that would have made sense. I liked the idea that Kylo was going to be conflicted and by the end be Vader. The opposite, but they played it
too.
Oddly safe, but not safe. They backpedaled so much and they just didn't have that through line. If they had a plan and stuck to it, and Kathleen said, these are the parameters and you don't go outside of, like, we delineated everything. And so, like, if you go outside of this box, this isn't our Star Wars. But to answer your question, one, it doesn't feel like Star Wars, which is like a sore in your mouth that your tongue, like it's just like an itch you can't scratch because you're watching it and you're like, I know this is Star Wars, but it doesn't feel like Star Wars. The prequels were so different to the originals, but they still felt that there's like it's like you can't even articulate what a Star Wars is, but you know it when you see it and you know when it's not Star Wars. But to your question, the problem that I had when I was watching The Force Awakens is I'd hyped myself up for so long that in my gut, which is never wrong, I find, I knew that I was not 100% happy, but I'm very susceptible to hype. And we were feeling the love and the passion so much that kind of overrode it. And then when I looked back, I've gone, that was mediocre. But if you watch me reacting to it, I would have been running out of the theater buzzing. I was in Alabama with a family that were dressed up in cosplay, and the dude was like, would you do me the honor? And I just started YouTube and he was a fan of the channel, but he said, would you do me the honor of coming with us? And I said, absolutely, dude. Like, I had no idea. I was like, why do you care about me? Anyway, I go with him and we got there late and I sat in the bottom right on the front row looking up at it like this. It was, where your neck hurts, and I'm like, this is the worst viewing experience. But
I think all movie fans have done that for sure. I remember being a kid in Jurassic Park 3 in the front row, and it was like all the dinosaurs just smashing down on you. It was awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to sound ungrateful. He was leaning over the whole time going like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, it's okay, dude. Like, shit happens. But and then running home and making the videos on it, and you making that the first like circle video. I keep talking about this. He had that like something about Kylo Ren, and I was so jealous because I was like, why didn't I think of the red circle? Which is the dumbest thing, but I just wanted to figure out. Like, I loved your thumbnails.
Thank you.
Well, we spoke about it back then. I was like, how are you doing this? And you're like, well, I opened Photoshop. And I'm like, okay.
And I add a circle.
Yeah, I had a circle. It's red. I'm like, red, you say, not green? And you're like, red. And then I put it on the thing that you want to build intrigue around. And people go, what is that thing? I'm going to click this.
Yeah. Well, this was 10 years ago. I mean, like the circles in the thumbnails was not, I mean, everybody does it now, but it was not a super big thing. I forget who I saw do it first, but I must have seen it on a non-Star Wars related video is what happened. And I was like, that would probably work. But yeah, I remember being super hyped for The Force Awakens. And I remember not liking it the first time and then going back and appreciating the mix of practical effects and CGI. That was super important to me at the time. And just trying to get into the Rey character and having a hard time, but also really connecting with the Ben Solo character, at least that first film. Like you were talking about, where he's the Vader if he doesn't ever make the right decision in the end. And I thought that was so fascinating. This character who was on the walkway, who I still maintain it is a great scene with him and Han Solo on the walkway. And I think visually with the blast door closing and the light leaving him, I really liked that. And there are things in The Force Awakens that I do really like. But after that, we get The Last Jedi. And man, that just shattered.
They stepped back on so much. I think that was hard because it was kind of, it wasn't so divisive, but it did leave fans kind of being like, there was moments. I didn't like any of the Jedi, like the lightsaber battles, them swinging it like it weighed 40 kilos I'm like, what is wrong with these? They like, even Kylo was probably the only practitioner where you're like, he's doing well, but he somehow lost again. We've gone through it a million times, but I was like, he should not have lost whatsoever. That was the dumbest thing, unless Luke showed up, which he should have. And you can feel the money men making those decisions of like, not yet, you don't get to do, like George never would have held back a story beat for the bigger reveal of Luke in the next, you know what I mean? Just to cliffhanger people. But the Last Jedi, I think the frustrating thing was visually it was pretty beautiful, but it didn't feel as Star Warsy to me, which I know it's hard. I'm going to find better words, but when he rebuilds his mask, or when they arbitrarily move the scar from his face, and I'm like, you're just doing shit because you like an F you to the old director. Like, I don't like your story, so I'm going to do a thing that goes against it. And it's like, no, you can't. You cannot do that. Even if you don't love it, you got to make it work with it. Not Snoke put him down for like him picking the mask back up was the strangest thing, and rebuilding it. Like, or was that the Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah, I think he mends it in Rise of Skywalker. He like smashes it after he talks to Snoke, I think.
So he smashes it in number 2, then he rebuilds it in number 3.
Yeah. It's just because Rian Johnson didn't want him to have a helmet, and J.J. Abrams did. I think it's just as simple as that.
That's what I mean. Like those things, but that was the symbology of the mask, the symbology of Vader's head in the ashes of his fallen enemies. Kylo was done so dirty. I did like the aspects of Ben Solo redemption, but it shouldn't have happened in that story. So it felt good. I was like, oh, this is actually kind of nice-ish. It was a weird fight scene between him and the Knights of Ren. But you know what I mean? These are conflicting, I hate to say it, George, motifs, poetry. It doesn't rhyme. Like it felt like it was disjointed, like discordant music. It wasn't in harmony. And where there should have been peaks, troughs, crescendos, it kind of was fighting itself. And it just, you're just like, this is janky, dude.
The decision to have Luke disconnect from the Force and the decision to have him not care about the Jedi Order and his friends, it's like having Tony Stark in a movie and making him dumb. Like, what is the point?
That's the best metaphor. He's just rubbing 2 sticks together, and it's like caveman Tony. And you're like, but Tony's smart, and they're like, not no more.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what? And he's like, I don't need Iron Man. And you're like, but you're Iron Man. That's what you do.
That's what you do.
Me no smart no more.
Exactly.
Me Wood Club man.
It felt exactly like that to me, though. Like, why would Luke disconnect from the Force? This thing that he cares so deeply about, and there's no good reason for it, is the answer.
Well, like I said, sorry, about the woke culture thing where they cannot create, they can only subvert and destroy and manipulate, kind of like matter. I think that to serve their story, he couldn't be the big bad, and so they had to nerf him in the most strange way. You would have done this. I used to sit there and just meditate on theories as to what would have happened to him between the two movies. Like, what could have happened in his life that was so bad that he ran away? Do you know what? One of the theories, and this isn't good. This is what I came up with. What if some huge event occurred and Leia was Snoke? Now, hear me out. It's horrible, but what if she got burnt up and she fell to the dark side because she believed she had to? And so she wore a mask, a Force mask, like Palpatine did. And that's why Ben served her. That's why Han ran away. That's why Luke ran away, because he couldn't fight his own sister. That's the only thing I could think of that would make sense why all the family scattered. I was like,
yeah.
There's nothing else that would compel them to leave everything they believe in. Like, it's...
I just love talking about Snoke. I mean, the Plagueis theory was my favorite. That was the first video I ever made that really took off, was that Snoke was Darth Plagueis. And again, this was all based on information that we got before The Force Awakens, where Andy Serkis, I know we talked about this a few streams ago, but I'll go ahead and bring it up again, where he was like an ancient entity. He had seen the rise of the Republic, which or was the Clone Wars. It was one of the other. He was old as shit, and we were supposed to keep track of that and sort of look back in the timeline, like who could Snoke be? Because it wasn't just who is he in the present. If he saw the Clone Wars, the whole timeline is opened up, and that he has sort of been behind the scenes, ruling, making preparations. None of that was true in the end, but I just thought that him being Darth Plagueis would have been so cool.
Look, because they said he watched the Empire rise and fall, being more powerful on paper than Palpatine is already a hard sell. One that didn't make any solidified take action against Palpatine's Empire. You have to have a motive. You have to have a reasoning, a logic as to why they would sit back. Like, you know what? Like, and that's where your brain starts tick, 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 where you're like, well, what is it? And again, if Palpatine did him in with Force lightning and his skull, went from immune to kind of humanoid and messed up. You have to, we fill in the blanks. The problem with fan theories is that although a lot of them are great, I think that the execution of even I know that JJ watched, or one of his writers watched, that fan theory by that famous dude who did the Razor Palpatine video. I know that they took that and they implemented it, and it made me take a step back and go, maybe fan theories aren't the greatest thing since sliced bread, because I was like, the execution, maybe it could have been done better, but I was like, this is not what I thought it would be. I thought a fan theory fixing up the continuity errors and logic, the narrative pitfalls would have been something better, but I saw it and I was like, not
at
a
the
fan.
same time, though, I had such a fun time. I know you did too, doing theories for like Infinity War and Endgame, where
I love
those
it,
movies, those movies, the payoff with Infinity War and Endgame felt incredible. And I remember theorizing, what is the one out of the 5 million options where the Avengers win, and like, how can they possibly win, and what does it take? And the real reason, which the Russos were like, Tony Stark has to live, and these certain characters have to die in order for this one timeline to come to fruition. But the idea that Tony Stark, a character that we've been with since the beginning of the MCU, is now this key pivotal figure in discovering time travel in Endgame, like, that's great. That's an amazing payoff. And we still offered all those theories. So, I see what you're saying about fan theories being dangerous, but it's like, you guys are the professional writers. Just dangerous in terms of the payoff.
Well, if they're mishandled, I should say, because obviously I adore them. I absolutely adore them. I was thinking about that, the 1 in 14 million or whatever it was.
Oh, yeah, it's 14.
That was what brought me back into Marvel and all of that, because 2018 I didn't make any Star Wars videos, and I just floated on my channel, and I saw it on Reddit and I asked the guy's permission. And I did a video about the time stone theory, and then it blew up and got like 7 million views or something crazy. And then I was suddenly doing endgame theories, and it was the greatest like 4 or 5 months to come away from Star Wars. And the I love Infinity War so much more than Endgame, but my
Me
God,
too.
was that a fun period, dude. I know, because Stoops has Marvelous Wave, subscribe. So he was right there with me, you know, doing it. It was so much fun.
Did you what happened with you and Marvel afterwards? Because I just saw Brave New World, which was the first time I've like gone to the theater and seen a Marvel movie in some time. I was just so curious. Did you drop off with that too?
So what happened was, as Endgame came out and my channel was resurging, you know, hundreds of thousands of subs I think I was getting, and I was like back in the game, and I was like, I'm excited. And then Captain Marvel was coming out, and I wasn't excited, and I started to go, And then YouTube just arbitrarily, that was the time that, again, YouTube had ended my channel. Like, they cut my monetization and some of my abilities because I used too many capital letters in my titles. And so I knew
What?
somebody was gunning it out. They saw me. I don't know who it was, but clearly somebody had a vendetta, because everybody uses caps in their titles.
Yeah.
Somebody behind the scenes, I'm convinced, maybe I'm wrong, had it out for me, because it just killed my channel at like the peak. Like, it's not about money, but like I didn't make any money in 2018 because I was floating around. So I finally was like able to do what I wanted to do again in 2019. And I felt like all of this excitement and passion. And then for them to like nerf the channel and give me a strike.
Well, how do you even get a strike for having too many capital letters in
community guidelines? And so,
What?
yeah, again, so that happened to me in 2017 with all my, you know, using the John Williams Imperial March thing once. And it's not like, I hate to bring it up because I feel so blessed to do this and I love what we do, but it's such a gut punch for like when it feels like unfair, like
Devastating.
you know that they're just, somebody's got it out for you. And I tried to appeal it and they were like, piss off. And I was like, well, there's capital letters in like, and that was back when like Minecraft videos came out and people were just doing spam caps, the whole title, and nobody got in any trouble. So I had to get help, outside help to get it fixed. And it took months. And by that time, when Captain Marvel came out and I saw the writing on the wall that Endgame was peaked, I just went, well, I guess that's Marvel film. You know, Star Wars is gone. I felt like a franchise killer. Star Wars went limp after I covered it. Then Marvel started to go limp after I covered. I'm like, I'm just stay away.
The dash effect.
The dash effect. Yeah. And for my day job, when I worked in video games, I ran a team of people out in California. We were doing a lot of games, especially for Blizzard, and we covered Overwatch. We were the first people to ever make a video for Blizzard announcing their game that wasn't internal for them. So it was huge. Huge. I was so excited. And then I saw what Overwatch and I was like, oh man, like every franchise was like, oh, like Fallout we used to cover. Oh man, like everything just kept, I felt like a cat on a hot tin roof, like jumping from roof to roof, because like they just kept crumbling under my feet. And I'm like, can we just get something that's sustained and awesome that doesn't just like corporations take over and just chew it up and turn it into this husk and then dust and then, you know, leave the community embittered, and you know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, you came back to Star Wars when it was already crumbled, so maybe you'll have the reverse dash effect. I don't see. I hope it doesn't go lower than it is now. My gosh,
this is the worst time. This is just passion for me. I was like, I want to talk about it. Like, you and Theory get me juiced to like talk. Like, I get that feeling, and I'm like starting to vibrate because we're talking about the theories and whatnot. I think it's on the fans to bring it back. So it's probably the best time, but on paper, this is it's a wasteland out there. I look at the content and like you said, I wouldn't know how to, if you created a lore channel that is not either A, shorts, or B, 2-hour videos, because I'm sure the 2-hour videos do a lot better because YouTube wants to push the movies, because I make them on my RPG channel, Dark Lord Dash. I do a lot of I sew episodes together as long movies and quest lines because that's the only thing that works at the moment. Again, it's AI or personality based. There's no like in between anymore. It's just everything's because there's no content to get hyped for, so nobody cares about the lore for the content that exists as much. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I know that for me, the longer videos, it's like the watch time helps a lot, and people like to put them on in the background when they're working or going to sleep. So that helps. I also found, like because I have a established fan base and people that came to me for Star Wars lore videos for years, I haven't seen it, but I do feel super bad. Well, obviously I've seen it, but not to the level where like I couldn't continue producing content. But I have seen genuine Star Wars fans who dedicated a lot of time to their channels and had to step away because of the state of the franchise. And that sucks because people really did put a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of love into these creations. And the fact that, Disney sort of dwindled that audience is super unfortunate. And, I think we all want, more Star Wars creators out there. We can all collaborate and work together. I think that's what I want. So
it's been a blessing for us, but I 100% agree. I look at people and go, shit. If me starting again and figuring it out, I like it because I'm not doing it to like do it full time. I'm blessed in that regard where I want to get more content and then hopefully somebody to help me down the line. But right now it feels a lot better to not have any weighted pressure or to, especially with where Disney's going, not feel like I have to create content around their content. But people, I genuinely feel bad for people who I comment on a lot of videos now that I've come back into the franchise because you probably don't watch a lot of Star Wars content, do you? It's a weird thing.
Not the new stuff. I mean, obviously just for work, but I definitely.
No, I mean channels.
Oh, channels. It's rare, but sometimes I'll see a short that I like. Vader's Fortress is a shorts channel that I really like. I don't know if you've seen him.
Oh, he's got the red thumbnail, right? And the Vader head. Yeah.
He reached out a while ago and just said what's up, and he was super nice. I also like if you're a sequel Star Wars fan and you can be respectful and make videos about like why you like the sequels and not throwing, ists and phobes around. That's the type of content that I'm interested in. Like, what do you guys like about Luke, or what do you connect with Disney Luke? But in terms of where I get the lore and what sort of content I consume that way, I try to go right to the books and to, the games and stuff.
But it's natural. I don't watch any much Elder Scrolls content or something, or KOTOR content when I'm covering it, or Star Wars. I watch more Star Wars now than I ever did when I was covering it because I was making it 24/7, and I like to draw in from other sources for inspiration, which a lot of people I find do. But to your point, I do feel bad for people who are really talented. I see guys with like crazy setups, really in-depth lore videos, and they get like 200 views. And not there's anything wrong with that, but I'm like, you deserve, like, if this was peak Star Wars, you would be primo. Like,
they'd be growing like crazy.
But so much respect to them to do it regardless of the state of it. But I'm just like, they deserve a lot more clout than they've got. And, they say everything in business is timing, but no, I don't think many people, I've only met like a handful of YouTubers who are like, I do this as a business. And you're like, really, bro? You get to make like videos about like your like fandom that everybody loves, and you see it as just like you clock in, you make video. Like, it's disappointing, but I'm like, no, to each their own. If it's their business. And the worst thing is when they do really well and they've told you it's just a business, and you know that if people knew that they just saw it as a business, that they wouldn't support it. I'm like, it's hard for me to make peace with, but.
No, I don't. I definitely see that. I never got into it for a business. I was just a teenager and, wanted to talk about Star Wars. And I don't think I turned my monetization on until I had like 30K subs, something like that. I just didn't know how. I was talking about Jurassic World, talking about Star Wars. And I was just hyped that people wanted to see what I thought. It wasn't about money. So,
yeah, well, thanks to you guys. I think I just hit over 5,000 subs on the new Dash Star channel.
Yeah, guys, sub to Dash if you're here.
I'm
Dash Star 2.0, right?
Well, it's just Dash Star now. I dropped the 2.0. I appreciate it. Theory was like, we'll get you to 500K subs, and I appreciate it, and I'd love that. But like, to explain this, and I really mean this in the most respectful way. Subs, unfortunately, don't really matter like they used to. YouTube doesn't send out videos to Stoops or to Theory's channel, and they undercut them. They've even specifically said in 2025 they're trying to push new channels, and so they take a lot of viewership from the bigger channels and kind of push it out. So for me, I'm actually kind of fortunate that I'm smaller because I get to do what I want. I don't have any expectations from the audience and whatever. Whereas you guys are getting undercut so hard. I'm like, I feel bad about that.
My hope is that as Star Wars just returns to prominence, that our channels will, again rise. And I got hope and faith in that.
They will, but Theory, and I boo-hoo Theory, the #1 guy with 3.4 million subs, is it? And I should know I'm on his channel. But him putting out a Sopranos, he messaged me. He goes, "Man, I just finished Sopranos. I'm gonna put a review on the channel." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's it finished in 2008, but this dude's wild card. Like Theory, anything he does, he seems to make float because of his passion." So I'm like, "Do it. I want to see this. This is awesome." To see that get double the views of an Exar Kun lore video upset me because I love Exar so much.
Me too.
So much so I don't even say Exar Kun anymore because of the stupid audiobook where that guy was like, "Exar Kun." And I'm like, well, you've changed my life. I'm never saying that.
You remember when he rolled up to the Senate building and stuck his fingers in the chancellor's brain?
How did he get away with it? The dude
he just walked out too. Well, he kills his Jedi master right after, but he just
showdown.
He put his fingers in the chancellor's brain and was like, "You're going to tell the Senate that I'm the man." And it was so cool. The thing I love about that is his announcement to them isn't, "Hey, I want you guys to be a part of the Sith Empire. Your support would really mean a lot." It's like, "Get out of the way or I will destroy you. You are a non-factor in any of this. I am doing my chosen path, and you are lucky enough to even be informed." I just thought that was so cool.
I loved it. Yeah, I loved his double-bladed lightsaber and the artwork for that. I just remember being like, this dude is such a badass. There's something about him. But yeah, there's some Nomi Sunrider without training, kicking the shit out of the dudes that killed her husband. That was a great storyline. I actually called my cat Nomi back in the day because of Nomi Sunrider. I was like, she's actually, but there was a lot of gaps where it's just like, okay, he's like, "I'm going to Coruscant." I don't know why they called it that. George called it that once. And I'm going to have the showdown duel and just walk away, go back to my Sith hideout and be like, "Come on." And the Jedi are like, "Should we follow him?" Nah, he'll turn back to the light side.
Star Wars does that a lot, huh? The Jedi are like, next time.
Yeah, I think we should meditate on this. And he's just beating the shit out of someone in front of him.
And he's turned half the order to the dark side already.
Yeah. Should we stop him? Have you heard of Ulik? No, it's just...
It's really busy,
Yeah,
don't have a lot of time.
He's a good kid, and he's just slashing citizens and shit. Yeah, it was pretty wild writing.
Should we read some of the super chats?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
We chatted for an hour before. Now we gotta
get out of here.
Go back. Yeah, 54 minutes. It's easy once you get into it, huh?
Well, you and I are very similar, so it's kind of hard to get us to stop.
All right, what do we got? Rossi sent a rose. Thank you, man. Hope you're having a good night. Rossi, $2. Thank the gods you guys got rid of that Theory guy.
Yeah, the takeover. Yeah,
it has been complete. Yeah, he's for you guys that are just tuning in now, he's getting ready for the Vancouver Expo. So he's with his team. At the start of the stream, if you go back, you can see him say what up. And yeah, he was like, "Oh, dude, are we streaming tonight?" He's like, "We're not streaming tonight, but you are." What else do we got? Another $5 from Rossi. Thank you, man. If you guys want to get Josh on the show, I'll DM him. Say no more, fam. Could you imagine Theory's reaction? It's Theory's channel, so I'm not going to do anything without his permission. But
explicit consent.
Yeah,
so funny.
But I would love to. I've never spoken with Josh other than just over Twitter briefly, but I'd love to meet him. I like his videos a lot.
Yeah, he's very you can tell that he's done this 4 years with Theory and how long for himself, and he just knows, like, I don't know how to explain it, the entertainment side. He's so concise,
Yeah.
and he's like one of those guys that like announces like this and blah 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 blah, and it doesn't seem like he has to think. Whereas me,
No.
I'm like stumbling and like my brain's like my mouth's keeping up with my brain, and he's just like bang 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 bang, all on the Marvel shit. Yeah,
He's a great entertainer. I mean, that's what it is too. It's not just taking the information and saying it again. It's like it's very entertaining the way that he does it. I like Josh's channel a lot.
yeah, he's got a better background than us too.
He does. Josh is
so good.
I was like, last week Theory was like, yeah, maybe you could have like some lights behind your stuff. And I was like, I hope he doesn't mention that I didn't get any lights or didn't get the camera.
No, he didn't say that. He said, quote, "You've got a week to sort out everything. You'll do it."
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I saw your face like, I'm not doing it in a week. Like,
no.
it's a lot more than you think. Like, it's taken me, I'm not even finished, but like it took me a while to get the camera and figuring shit out and normalizing it. It takes a while.
Dude, we're the scrubs. They're pros. They've been doing this for years. We're just
Speaking
hopping
yourself,
into
man.
it.
No, I dig it.
We got Benjamin. Yo, Wave. I went back and found out I subbed you in March 22nd, 2016. Dude, hell yeah. That was a long time ago. Thank you. Didn't realize how long I've been watching your vids. Here's to another 9 years. Thank you, Benjamin. Appreciate that. He sent us $5 too. Thank you, man.
Thank you. Are you going from the bottom up?
I was going from the top to the bottom, but I realized that I have now missed a few of the earlier ones. Sorry. Dawn Star sent $5. He said, huge shout out to all 3 of you. I've watched Wave and Theory for years. I'm a newer viewer to Dash, but he's shown to be a genuine and a great guy. Cheers. Absolutely.
Thank you, Dawn. Give me time. I'll disappoint, baby. I'm sorry. I promise I won't call you baby ever again. That kind of just slipped. I'm like, what am I doing here? What are we doing?
Rossi sent another $2 just barely. He says Josh has acolyte production quality. That's so true.
It's that acolyte
quarter
money.
billion. Dude. Yeah, I think that's all the super chats we got so far. What was that, like 5 or 6? If I missed one, I'm sorry, guys. I'm new to this.
So if you go into StreamYard and you hit start, do you do that? You can see it live. No. So I watch the comments. I see ourselves. You hit live and you see the comments, but start is all of the super chats. There's a bunch.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah. Sorry, man. Where do I go?
So if you click StreamYard and then top right, there's private chat and comments.
Oh, comments. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I not know any of this.
Yeah. I used to use 2 tabs. I used to like pull the live stream up, but no, StreamYard has all the comments in live, and the starred ones are the paid comments or the super chats, whatever you call them. Welcome to the jungle.
Yeah, for real. I didn't remember a few streams ago. I was like still talking, and I didn't realize that there were people listening.
Right.
Yeah, I'm all new to this. I'm not seeing the stars.
No, I had no idea people were listening. And you were like, I want to be, you were saying something like, I don't want to be rude and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, it's okay, Stoops. It's okay. We're all in this together. And Theory's like, there's 50 people watching us right now. And like,
he was like 150 people.
150 people behind the scenes that had they were going to jump in like the queue.
Yeah.
And the color from my face drained. I'm like going back to like,
what did I say?
Like,
yeah, me too.
What did I say? Yeah. I wasn't like, well, I found this new red spot on my inner thigh today, and I'm really worried, guys. Like, some really embarrassing. And I was like, no. But we were having like a powwow about like Paul Stoops, and 150 people were watching it. I'm like, yeah.
I'm glad that you didn't have any idea either, so I wasn't all
no, I just pretended I did because it made you like you turned red, and I was like, yes.
Dude, it's so easy for me to turn red. It's like my baseline.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. It's just my complexion. Yeah, did we miss anything? I'm not seeing any ones that I missed. I was going over on just my laptop on like the stream.
Holy hell. All right. I'm going to start reading because I don't want people to miss it. I apologize.
Oh yeah, we got a few.
Down. There's a bunch. All right.
You take over, sir.
So did we do Jake Hain that said, "Sup, y'all, USA versus Canada hockey. Who you got tonight?"
USA, baby. I know nothing about hockey.
I want to say Canada because of Gretzky. Wait, is he Canadian? Yeah. No? I know nothing. I am from a snowless country, basically. You're talking to the wrong guy. If you said dust hockey, desert hockey, maybe. Dragon Zord 979 said, "What's up, boys? Are you guys gonna have a guest on the show? Would love to see you guys talk to someone like Nerdrotic or Mauler."
That would be cool.
It would be cool. Theory, even though he was on his phone, has the keys to this stream. We have to message him to stop.
He is in charge right now.
We cannot physically bring people on. Like, he is the admin. So if he clicked end right now, he's probably watching it. You dirty bastard! Don't you click end? If you click end stream, we're cooked. We're cooked. Mariana Barbara said, "So disappointing that people are trying to ban Theory from conventions. Like, if you don't like him, don't go to his booth. It's not that hard." Roll eyes emoji.
Exactly. Yeah, if you don't want to interact with Star Wars Theory, you guys don't have, like, nobody has to. But obviously, come out, say hi. I was at MegaCon. It was freaking amazing. Everybody, the whole Theory Sabers team made me feel so at home. A lot of times you go places, it could be anywhere in life, and you sort of interact with people that try to big dog you. You know what I'm talking about? Like, oh, this is our thing. You're just sort of here. But it wasn't like that at all. Go ahead.
I was going to give you an example, but yeah, no, I'm not going to name any names. But yeah, 100%. They try and big dog me, but I just go, woo, woo, woo. Hit them back.
But,
no.
Absolutely. The Theory Sabers team it was not like that. They were all super personable. And it wasn't just with me. The whole day, anybody that had a question, they were super quick to solve it and just talk about anything. We talked about we love the NFL. A lot of his team likes football. So that's what we chatted about. And they were just really good people. So the point I'm trying to make is, if you don't want to talk to somebody, you don't have to, man. Like, if it's going to bug you that much, just walk past or avoid it. But for the people that want to come say hi, of which there are tons, the line was 4 hours when Theory and I were there, and everybody was just so awesome. And it's a great experience. And I don't see why people feel the need to, like, shit all over that. It's, of all the things in the world, you know?
I can tell you why. How much does a post or a tweet cost?
Nothing.
12 seconds of your time?
Yeah.
If you can morally grandstand well enough and write a sentence that has enough punch, they can alter Star Wars Theory, his team's life. They can tear down somebody for the cost of literally 12 seconds of their life and do devastating offensive attack. So, of course, people are like, I don't like XYZ. I'm going to morally grandstand. And if I can make the company's kowtow and, genuflect to our agenda, which is just to be a bastard because it's easy, they'll do it. And it's like,
That's corny,
it's like the
man.
dark side. Well,
That's
it's the dark
corny.
side. It's cheap, easy power, bad karma, really bad karma. If they 100% mean it, I think that they should be able to say it. And I know that that's horrible, but if somebody said, I think that Dash genuinely is like a psycho and he needs to be pulled off the internet and I'm afraid for, like, people's lives or something like that, and they 100% meant it, even if they were off meds and they didn't know what they were saying, I would respect that. But I find that the way they do it is so disingenuous because that they throw labels, they don't actually mean it. They just want to hurt Theory. And I think that's so low, to just hurt people because you can, and to do it dishonestly, because I don't want to speak on it too much or put power into it, but I've got a lot more blowback since coming back to the Star Wars fandom, but also being associated with Theory. And I found I'm cool with criticism. I'm cool with people making fun of me if it's in good fun, but I found people are being dishonest about it. And I don't like that. I don't like where you cross a line where you either harass somebody or you do it dishonestly, especially, and create like false narratives about people that aren't true just to get views and stuff.
They're trying to get him banned from these conventions, which is just bullshit. Like, that's the line for me, where you could say whatever you want, but when you target someone's, like, business like that directly, and
That's
you
what I
have no
mean.
real, yeah.
Targeted harassment, like there's like levels. There's like, I don't like theories. I was gonna say, I don't like his face. I don't want him to exist. Okay, that's a you thing. People can see that in the comments and go, that's a you problem. I love theory and his face. That cleft chin. He's gonna watch this and go, you son of a bitch. But then there's levels of like, I want to tarnish his reputation with lies. Then there's, I want to get him so that he can't, do his business and provide a service to the fans and meet people. And, and then there's attacking family, or there's doxing. Like there's things that are illegal. Like you move from morally gray to shitty to illegal to like absolutely should be vilified for these actions. And people
It's no longer criticism.
No, it's not fun criticism. I'm all about criticism. I like growing from it. I don't mind when somebody makes fun of me a little bit, but when it turns nasty, you can tell. And I think because Theory's been so good to us and we get along so well genuinely, that you and I in Theory probably have an unspoken rule. We've spoken about things a little bit where if one of us got like attacked, all of us would jump in and try and help that person because we never attack. But like we've discussed, we don't want to give people a platform that are attacking us or even hurt them per se. We don't even want to address a lot of this shit because it is shit. But like there are lines that are starting to be crossed, and it seems people are too comfortable to cross them with Theory, where it's like beyond the acceptable level. Like people are very comfortable with that, like attacking him, I found.
Yeah, me too. Like to the point, yeah, I don't get that. Like he's become like the sole person that they throw all their hatred at. And that's, I mean, that's what he deals with for being the biggest Star Wars YouTuber. I mean, it sucks. It's not right.
No, you're right. I said
cool.
that to him back in the day when we were messaging and someone had a shot at him, and I was like, heavy is the crown, dude. And I've said it since then. Like they are always, as long as you're number one, you're always target number one, and it sucks, but
yeah, you're the reactor shaft. You're the Death Star.
Speaking of which, before we keep going through the comments, this is how slow off the mark I am. I was thinking about like Return of the Jedi and how I couldn't make peace with Palpatine's death. I felt like as a kid, I was like, if Palpatine's so powerful, why did he go down like a chump, just squealing with his hands out, shooting lightning? Especially after the prequels. I was like, this dude can like sink into the Force, and his physical body doesn't matter so much. He's that strong in the Force. He can, look at Yoda. And then I thought, well, what if I came up with a theory? And this is a true story. This is last week. I thought, what if to have the motif of Luke loses his hand to Vader and Vader lost his hand to Dooku the dark side? What if, because Vader just got his hand cut off, the symbology of they added a couple of frames when Vader picks up Palpatine, that because he's only got one hand left, the symbology of Palpatine had given him this robotic hand, and the cost of what he's done to Vader is that hand snaps his spine. And I'm sorry that I'm wearing a filthy hand brace.
Yeah, what happened?
Repetitive injury. Jark high, dude. The kangaroos around here are crazy.
You're making me change color.
Yeah. No, I just hurt my hand a little bit. I think it was at the gym, and it started playing up when I was editing. And I'm like, why is my hand in crippling pain? It's not carpal tunnel, but I found one of the old wrist things. I'm like, oh, that's needs a wash. I digress. I like looked at it.
We've all been there, man. We've all looked at the one weird rap that we had from years ago and been like, I have to do it.
It's on stream. Yeah, but a couple of frames of his hand actually tightening on Palpatine's spine so that he's crippled, and that's why he never moves, and he's still shooting lightning as he goes down the reactor shaft. I thought, now that's better than making Han shoot first or some of these arbitrary changes to the OT that George made. I feel like that would clear up so many questions. And so I'm feeling proud of myself. I'm like, I'm going to go do AI and make the scene where you see the hand clamp down and maybe a snap sound instead of the no. And then I look, and Theory made a video about it like 8 years ago going, he probably held him by the spine because of his robotic hand and the lightning was hitting him. And I thought, God damn it.
I've never even heard of that before, but I really like that actually. Because it's like Dooku, being told to cut off Anakin's hand is his first step towards like the dark path for well, he did kill Tusken Raider children at that point. But it's one of his first
people
steps.
stand people.
But it's one of his first steps towards the dark side. So the fact that like that would come around full circle and he would use that hand to like break Palpatine's
Right,
spine.
the irony that Palpatine made him have this shitty hand,
Right.
and that he let go of the dark side with the left hand, but like the right still does the bidding. You know what I like?
Uh-huh.
The light side is represented by Luke's, cutting off his hand, and then that's how he turns. But also the last piece of the dark side left turns on Palpatine. It's beautiful. It's a motif. It's poetry. I would like to see
that.
it. Yeah,
I love that. That's my headcanon now, for real.
Same, because I could only not make sense of that and them not using the Wookiees instead of the Ewoks for the Return was my favorite as a kid, but I never liked the Ewoks and I never liked the Palpatine death scene.
I just skipped the Ewok parts. Unless Luke is there with the speeder bike chase and everything. Anything with Luke, it's like
I love those force, like the deflections with the blaster bolts. I couldn't believe
it's like the first time you see that, right? Or...
Yeah. Vader uses his hands before that. Yeah. It was an amazing movie, but the Ewoks, I know that George is like, well, it's nature versus blah, blah. And Sam Wett was like, well, they can attack little points on their armor because they see in night vision or whatever, but it's still...
You can't justify the Ewoks to me.
They're too shit. It's a fun game mode in Battlefront 2 that they had for a while. The Ewoks.
That is fun. I have actually played that.
Yeah. But I was like, they should have done the Wookiees. That would have made so much more sense of tribalism, nature versus science motif that he had going. Nature always wins or finds a way. Thank you. It was Jeff Goldblum for that one from
Jurassic
Nature,
Park.
Finds a way. What the hell were we talking about? I've theoried myself. I've just gone down a rabbit hole of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, I don't know what started it. Should we go back to super
comments? Super chat. Okay, Ethan.
Don't take my
I'm looking at the camera. Wrote, member for 19 months. Ah, yes, my favorite Jark High practitioners. You cheeky bastard. I love it. See, that's the type of humor that, they're joking and it's great. And we're all in on the joke. And it doesn't make me cry at night thinking about people.
It's beautiful. Beautiful callback, sir.
Okay, Mason, this is for you, Stoop, said Star Boys. JOI countdown type beat. Joy?
Yeah. What is that? Is it like a type of music?
Something it's got to be. And we're going to feel silly when we figure out the acronym.
Yeah,
anyway, Caleb Senpai has gifted $4.99. I apologize if I haven't been reading the amount. We really appreciate it. Theory's not, dad's out, so the kids are playing. Caleb Senpai said, and he's holding an awesome belt, wrestling belt. He looks like the champ. Going to Galaxy's Edge next weekend for the first time. And he tips, keep up hard work, you guys. You've brought my love back for Star Wars. What a compliment.
Thank you, man. Have you been to Galaxy's Edge?
Oh, I've edged at no.
I've edged in all sorts of galaxies.
All sorts of galaxies, but in Star Wars Cantina, in front of, I can't remember. I think I did in Anaheim. Is it in Anaheim?
I think there is one there. Yeah.
I meandered about, but I think all I remember is taking pictures in the gift shop and not being happy with this sequel shit. So I think I have, but I've blanked it. This is all you. This is all stupendous.
Yeah, because it's down the road. Because I live in Orlando. Yeah, I was there like last month. It's disappointing. I think that Theory or the three of us, we were talking like off stream about it, about how there's a lot of potential to access like the prequel stories and the originals and how they intentionally decided not to do that, and why that just feels not appropriate. But in terms of the experience itself, I think Rise of the Resistance is a pretty fun ride. It breaks down a lot, and the wait is pretty long. I think that the lightsabers there are stupid overpriced to build one. And I don't know. Galaxy's Edge, it's kind of disappointing because I think of all the things that it could have been and how much potential it has there. And I struggle to enjoy what it's giving because it's all just, Disney era stuff. And you'll get like prequel action figures here and there, or like prequel Easter eggs, but that's all it really is. It's just Easter eggs and little trinkets. So pretty disappointing, but I do very much like the blue and the green milk. I think that they taste really good. They're plant-based. So if you have a chance to get those, I would. Other than that,
Why did you say plant-based?
Why are they plant-based?
No, that was like a big thing for you. Are you like hard into the oat milk? Talk to me.
Dude, I just don't want to be like put myself in a position where I'm drinking dairy at Disney World, because that could only mean problems.
Oh wow. Because my brain, as soon as you say, it's important to me to get my nut milk, I'm like, hey, who am I to judge? I'm all about that almond. No, the older I get, the more dairy, I don't mess with it. I drink almond milk. I don't know. My body's turned against it mostly. So I'm just like,
Well, there's just something about like drinking dairy in the hot sun where it's like from Anchorman. It was like milk was a poor choice.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing where I don't really want to be drinking that around like in a theme park. I can't think of a worse beverage to just be walking around than just a glass of milk. I don't know.
You've given me a visual, dude, of you with like the zinc sunblock all over your face and stuff, and you're just drinking in the hot sun, melting.
Just awful. But
the fair skin.
Yeah. Dude, there's no such thing as a tan for me, dude. It's burn, peel, repeat. That's my life.
Oh, well, see, I tan up like brown as a nut, as it were, when I do tan, but it's like skin cancer, I don't want to go into dark places, but I've had family members
Same.
deal with it. And when I lived in the tropics in Australia, I used to run every day on the beach and would go out in the sun, and I thought that was fine. And I found I had a lot more freckles, but whenever I get like half a tan now, there's this weird triangle on the tip of my nose that comes out where I'm like, I have to see a dermatologist now. I'm like, I don't think that could be good. And I'm having like palpitations thinking like, if this is cancerous, they're going to cut it. Those people that like, they cut half their nose off and you're like, oh,
yeah, my grandpa had to do a lot of that stuff. His face was pretty different by the time he,
right. Well, my dad's had like literally 20 plus cut off him. And my grandpa died man. Of melanoma in the bones. They caught it. It was in 11 places in his bones. He was just dead. And he was a sea captain. And there's pictures of him with like that coconut oil instead of like, the palm oil or whatever, instead of sunscreen, lying out on the ship, like baking, like nothing's going to stop this. I'm great, vitamin D. And he died a horrible death because of it. So
I'm sorry, man.
Don't say that. That was a long time ago, and it happens, and it's more of, I appreciate it, but it's more like, I think we get a lot more sun smart as time goes on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, my grandpa dealt with a ton of that stuff too. And now my mom, sometimes, she has to get her stuff cut out, and it's always kind of worrying. Nothing for me. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah. But yeah, like my dad only started when he was in his 50s, and then like he's got scars on his face and shit, but he had like moles and stuff everywhere. And I don't know. I think the scars look cool, but he's like, the one next to my eye really, really hurt. I'm like, oh, poor bastard,
So they actually start to hurt over time too, right? They're not just
yeah. He said that he used to have one on his neck, and it used to hit his shirt, and he said he hated it. And yeah. Anyway, I don't want to go down this path too much because
it's a Star Wars show.
It's a Star Wars show. I know. Theory loves to get into the personal stuff, and so do I. But I always feel bad in the back of my mind. I'm like,
me too.
They don't give a shit about you or your grandpa, dude. They came here for some Star Wars love, and I'm like, I
struggle with that too, Dash. Like a lot. Like, how much do people want to hear the personal stuff about like what's going on, and how much do they want to keep it just Star Wars? And like you said, Theory does like to branch out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't mind either, personally.
He's been doing it for years, and people watch his videos for him more than Star Wars now. And I think that most people would kill for that. It's just his personality. And so I think he's right. We're just not at that level. We're people pleasers where we're like, how do we make sure that the audience is taken care of? Because I feel guilty, and it's self-indulgent to talk about me.
Oh,
Me.
the whole
My-
chat's talking about how much they care, though. That's so nice.
See, I don't read the chat. I don't care. It's me. No, I'm joking. Me. No, I don't like that. I'm just like, get that disturbing feeling in my stomach. You know, lucky
Yeah,
we
like
didn't talk about that when 150 people were watching behind the scenes.
yeah,
That's what Stoops was talking about. Like, I feel guilty and stuff, and it's just people watching like popcorn. Like, tell
what
us
do you
more.
feel guilty about, sir?
Yeah. Who did you hurt? All right, let's keep going with the super chats. And thank you so much for all the kind
Yeah,
comments.
for real. Thank you guys for watching without theory here.
The key man, Spooky Sith, who has a nice Empire symbol and has donated $5. I probably don't have to describe everybody's icons, but here we are. Said, I'm so glad you both agreed to a podcast with Star Wars Theory. Well, I'm sorry to tell you, Sith, but he's out.
We kicked him
You
out.
guys, yeah, you guys are amazing. I think he's talking about what's left. Help needed. Should I purchase Theory Saber, Hermit 4, or the Negotiator?
I know. Oh, I think you got to go Hermit, right? I know that's the one that Theory likes, right? No, Theory likes Prodigal Son the best. I've seen them both. I like the Hermit. My personal favorite one that I've seen in person is the Count. That one was really cool. Yeah, I would go with Hermit, I think. What do you think?
Keep talking. I'm not Googling right now.
Yeah, I got to mess around with a few of them. And Theory sent me 2 of them. He sent me I forget. How do you say the Annie 3, I think I got, and I'm forgetting the other one, but I have messed around with them. And I like the Count, but I know the Hermit is super popular. That might be the best seller, if I remember. So I would go Hermit personally. But the Negotiator is cool too.
I'm having trouble, dude. The Negotiator does look good. The weathered. I like sabers that are a little less ostentatious. I find like Palpatine's is too flashy for me, so I like to think that it's functional, a weathered universe like Lucas intended. So I'd probably go the weathered Hermit 4, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a good design. Is that the one with that doesn't have the power box on it, right?
Looks like it does.
What am I thinking of?
I'm only looking at one side. The light strip. Anyway.
You pick whatever one calls to you, man. But I would rock with the Hermit.
That's what Theory said to me. I was like, tell me which saber to get. And he's like, no. Son of a bitch. Fernando Alvarez with just an F. Do you know that I think that YouTube puts your icon as like the first letter that you put in the name if you don't upload an icon? So like he's just an orange F. Important stuff. This wouldn't happen if Theory showed up. He donated $5. Thank you, Fernando. He said, I got an Apprentice, Masters, and Grand Masters box.
Let's
for the
go.
boys and true fandom. Keep up the good work. I may do an unboxing vid when they arrive. Yeah, 100%.
Do one. Tag Theory. He'll share it, I'm sure.
I love this stuff. I love people's like, I'm not much of a person who collects things because I feel weighed down by them. But in my office, I'll collect a couple of things. So I love collectors because I'm not a collector per se. I don't know. I just get so excited when I see other people. It's like a side of fandom that I haven't got into.
Stuff. I absolutely love collecting stuff. I got to show you guys all the stuff I have on my shelves sometime.
100%. I love the stories. I love what it means to people. You see their eyes light up. I don't know. It's just one of those things. Next up is Short Dog 04, and he's got a nice Star Wars dueling picture. $4.99. I'm gonna get better at this. He said, "What are your thoughts on the recent article?" Just casually, I know Theory's just like could wake up and he's just like eating a bowl of cereal and read it, and it sounds natural because he's done it for so long.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the recent article that says it's time for Star Wars to go rated R?
If you pick the right thing, I know you want to talk about shoot, what's it? What's the Old Republic?
What is it?
I'm not gonna look at the chat because they're already screaming it. Dude, I'm not gonna get it. You put me on the spot. It's the one that the Dark Troopers is the sequel novel, right? And then or shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Red Harvest and Death
Yeah,
Troopers.
Red Harvest. Red Harvest. That's what it is.
It's basically the thing in Star Wars with zombies kind of twist, but it's on a Sith Academy, and the Sith is so interesting. And seeing, I think the thing about the thing was you never knew who was the bad guy until it was too late. With Red Harvest, it's the fact that the Sith are already mistrusting and always trying to get a leverage on someone else. And then so seeing that, in an emergency situation where you have to work together, it's the antithesis of the Sith is teamwork. And so it is just the perfect storm of like, what's the worst thing that could happen to the Sith? And it happens, and they all just, if they just work together and get out of their own way, they wouldn't. And so the dynamics of people just screwing themselves over, it's the opposite of anything I've ever seen in a horror scenario. And I'm not a horror freak, but my God, is that as an R-rated movie, just
that's a good way to put that too. Like, what position can they put the Sith in where they are forced to do something that they wouldn't normally do? That's a great way to describe that. I know I talked. Go ahead. Sorry, man.
No. All you.
I was. Were you here on the stream where I talked about the Echo base and the Wampas like infiltrating Echo base, and how I wanted a story of a group of rebels left behind, trying to make a last stand there, like after the Falcon is taken off, after most of the rebels has left. What happens if there's like a few rebel troopers that were left behind, and now all the Wampas are coming for revenge and converging on the base? Like, I think a horror film. Yeah.
Phenomenal. I think that, leaning trooper leaning against the wall and doing the horror trope of we're finally safe exhaling, and the two hands ripping through the wall and just biting his head off in front of the other guys and his neck. So like that there are certain stories that demand gore, and it doesn't have to be over the top, horror. I think a lot of it is psychological, like
creature feature.
Reservoir Dogs is one of my favorite scenes. Is when he cuts the ear off the cop Michael Madsen. You don't actually see it, but I realized how powerful your imagination is, more powerful than any visual, because you fill in the blanks, and it's the most disturbing scene in the whole movie. People still reel from a thing that they don't physically see. And so I think there's so much that you can do so powerful in a Star Wars horror. It's just something unexplored. And again, we always say it, Star Wars is a sandbox, and it's a universe to explore with all. I want to see all genres play out in the Star Wars universe.
I mean, Return of the Jedi, it opens up as basically a pirate movie, which is so cool.
I never thought of it like that.
You can plug in different genres into Star Wars, and it works so well. But I would love an Echo base Wampa horror film where it's just a group of people, 90 minutes long, trying to get out. And they could be slowly losing power, just trying to contact any sort of rebels out there. And they're on Hoth. Like, it was hard for the Empire to find them. So, and the Empire is the ruling force in the galaxy. So imagine how difficult it would be to get any sort of help there. And I mean, you sort of get along the lines of they have to find their own way out. I just think it would be so cool. You could have like the Wampas wandering around the base, and like you could see their breath from like the darkness. Oh, I would love it.
Here's a good twist on that, potentially. If you don't like it, reel on them back. What if Imperials got trapped with the rebels, and they realized that they were sealed in and all screwed because of the Wampas and the snow, and they had to survive the night and work together. But there was, say, a reactor leak, and some of the more obnoxious officers were like, you need to go in and do X, like Chernobyl. So that not only are they dealing with one threat, not the snow, they're dealing with Wampas, and they're dealing with like noxious gas that is slowly going to fill the chamber and kill them all unless they get out. Those types of stakes where they're
like aliens.
Allies.
Reminds me of when they have to go stop the base from blowing up. Bishop does. Remember that?
Yeah. It's something that's where we've got all of these little things converging, where it's like the suspense is off the charts, and it just takes a deft hand. I mean, like Aliens 2, I still think about when they push that grating up and they see those aliens crawling on the wall. It's the most horrific thing I've ever seen in my life as a kid. I'm like screaming like Bishop is doing the knife hand on me. I'm Bill Paxton screaming. And then I watched the latest Aliens. Was it Romulus? And I was just like, I felt nothing. I thought,
really, I liked Romulus.
But I did there was moments. It's like they just cherry picked moments. And I'm like, I like the android a bit. But I just didn't. I've never had the scare factor of 2 ever again. That whatever they contained, I want to see that in Star Wars in your Echo base. And I can see it like, Echo base on the screen, then the blood comes down, like something like where it's just kind of
really lean into the fact that it's a horror movie. That would be so cool.
Skewed, like something's terribly wrong and start it. Yeah. That is like, see that again, we've made one barely connected movie discussing that attaches, so people would know enough about it because of Empire, but there's enough that it's its own standalone film, like Rogue One-ing it, but it's so compelling, and we're just a couple of dudes. Sure, we love it and stuff, but like there's so much. It's a sandbox, and it gets me juiced. Anyway, we're going to keep going through these shorts, otherwise we'll be here 5 hours. Thank you, Short Dog 04. Tim O'Brien, the man, the myth, the legend, looking like Kanan Jarrus with a beautiful white lightsaber in his icon. It would be so much better if they're on screen right now. So just use your imagination.
Next week, guys.
It's Reservoir Dogs.
Actually,
$20.
Dude, thank you, Tim.
Mr. O'Brien said, rule of Stoops dash. I would prefer dash wave. Dashy wave. Stoopy whoops. Dash, I enjoyed your most recent video and glad you came back to the fandom. Stoops, are you going to make more Marvel videos? ? I see you guys have overthrown Theory. Was it an epic duel? He gave up without a fight. The way it should be. Lol, much love, guys. Heart. So Theory.
Yeah, I'm going to start making Marvel videos again more frequently. Truthfully, when something catches my interest, the Marvelous Wave channel is, I covered Godzilla when the Godzilla X Kong movie was coming out. I'm a huge Godzilla fan too. I want to start covering Jurassic World on it again, which is actually how I started YouTube. But I'm super excited for Robert Downey Jr. to be Doctor Doom. I can't lie. I think that's so fun. And I think RDJ is such a good actor. And I love Doctor Doom. What do you think about Doctor Doom and RDJ Dash? Not to derail you again, but I can't help it.
How are you derailing? This is a discussion, dude. This is number one. I love the aesthetic of the Fantastic Four trailer where they're set. I'm assuming it's a parallel universe. They've taken over the Baxter building. Yeah, right. Because like none of that tech looks like modern day New York. Right.
I think, isn't it set in a different universe, this new Fantastic?
That's what I'm saying. It's a multiverse one that'll cross over with all the reads, but I digress. Von Doom is one of the greatest villains, one of the most compelling, and I've always been disappointed in Fantastic Four. Like, the first Doom was that Australian actor. Shout out to my Aussies. We've infiltrated Hollywood like no other. But they're just like, no, he's not going to wear proper armor. He's going to be steel under his skin. Just shit Hollywood does. And you're like, can you stop? I think RDJ has a lot of range. He's a bit hit and miss because he did like Sherlock Holmes. He's amazing. Then that Dr. Dolittle Welsh accent shit is weird. So when RDJ is firing on all cylinders, when he's in the pocket, unstoppable. How they're going to change his image away from the Tony Stark fast-talking playboy billionaire into a juggernaut or like, what's his kingdom called?
Latveria?
Yeah, like being a ruler and giving him the personality of Doom. I don't know, he's not so megalomaniacal, however you pronounce that. Like Doom is a complex and laid character villain. And so I think done right, it would be I'm actually excited. I'm genuinely excited for this because they got a good lineup of the cast is really good. Like
Chris Evans is coming back as Nomad probably, which will be interesting.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, no, so we don't know, like, because Nomad could be a few things. Like he is a character in the comics too, but he could also be like Cap coming back and
That's what I
displaced
thought he
somehow.
was. Yeah.
I don't know. When it comes to RDJ and Doctor Doom, for me, there are moments with Tony Stark where he does legitimately scare me, though, and where that ego really starts to take control and become threatening. So I hope that they take that element of the Tony Stark character, and the fact that they're played by the same actor, there has to be some sort of connection that we don't know about. I just have always wanted to see an evil Iron Man. For the longest time, I thought Tom Cruise was going to play the evil Iron Man in Multiverse of Madness that was being rumored. If you remember that, yeah, I think that could have been awesome, frankly. But I think that it's going to be something cool. I really hope so. And the fact that the Russo brothers are coming back and that they've said that it's something that they feel like they have a story for, I can't help but be excited.
So for those of you who don't know, the Russo brothers are probably most famous in the Marvel universe for setting up first Winter Soldier, I believe. Now, these are guys that directed things like Arrested Development as brothers directors, and you think, oh, they're comedy guys. Winter Soldier was head and shoulders above so many MCU movies. It was its own genre of like this spy thriller infiltrator.
Unprecedented.
And so they really knocked it out the park with Infinity War. I think that the only problem I had with them was they tried to walk back that Thanos was such a simple and sympathetic villain, because I was rooting for Thanos. I'm like, half the universe. I get it. You know what I mean? And then they had to make him a bit of a monster in Endgame. Like Endgame wasn't as satisfying a conclusion, but they are the strongest director-writer duo to carry the story after the mess that has been since Endgame. So, props to Disney for finally taking feedback or Feige and giving the keys and power to people who should be in positions of power that made it great in the first place. Not just their ego going out of check going, I want, what's his name? Mashallah, whatever his name is, who was really great in that movie with Viggo Mortensen where he's like, I want to be Blade.
Oh, Mahershala Ali. Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's a great actor. He was great in Luke Cage.
Yeah, he's in. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But Feige being like, well, he gives me a call, he's going to be just like weird stuff. Like it just seemed like they were rudderless, and they were like waiting for actors to call them and go, hey, do you have a role? And then they're like, oh, we'll write one, and they write this limp thing. Like you need that vision, that build up, like we were talking about before, where it has to have a crescendo. Like it has to really build to something bigger, and so that you get excited. And I think that they're taking that part seriously. I mean, we've been in limbo since Kang, when they were going to set up Kang, and then Jonathan Majors, who's an amazing actor. I actually want to watch that new bodybuilding
Me too.
Movie that he put out. It looks like an indie where he looks like he's mentally slow, but he wants it really bad, but life is going to punish him for it. One of those sad movies where he's probably going to
$1 million baby.
Yeah, he's going to road rage out and the cops will shoot him or something. I hope it's not that on the nose, but you know what I mean? Like something where you're just like, son of a bitch, you want him to win, but he's his own worst enemy.
Yeah.
Kang, I wasn't even excited for Kang because of Ant-Man, but Jonathan Majors, again, a phenomenal, like he's kind of mesmerizing where you watch, you go, that guy's got something that I can't look away, but I don't know what it is, the X factor. And so when they took him away from the equation, you're just like, well, what do we have? And so this is a great restart, I would say.
They couldn't just go big. They had to go the biggest. So they had to go get Robert Downey Jr. Because if they just announced a recast, it would have, but you have to go Doom. I mean, Doom is one of the only comic book villains they have left that's more prominent than Thanos. Not that Thanos wasn't was prominent before the MCU kicked off, but I mean, who do you have? What, maybe Magneto? But other than that, who else do you really have?
How many times have you watched? I watch anything whenever it pops up on my YouTube or YouTube Shorts. I watch Michael Fassbender as Magneto. Any of those scenes when he's hunting Nazis and shit, and he's just like the emotional depth that he brings, even in that last terrible. I was going to call it an abortion, but people use that word for movie, but it's a horrible word. Whatever that was, dark, like even everything about him, he's again mesmerizing. Where you watch him, he's a phenomenal.
X-Men First Class is so underrated. Everybody talks about Days of Future Past, but X-Men First Class is so good.
Yeah, that end scene with the coin coming around.
Yeah.
Oh my god. He was so good. You know, it'd be funny if RDJ, they bring him back and he does one of his RDJ accents and he's like, what if he has a speech impediment, like Latveria, or whatever you said? They have the problems with the V's. Is it the V's? The Germans or the have, and he's like, my name is Victor One Doom. Ruined the movie straight out of the gate. You're like, are you
It'd be
serious,
better
bro?
than what the last Fantastic Four movie did. Do you remember when they were afraid to call him Doctor Doom? So his name was like Victor Domashev, but they went back and like they ADR'd Doctor Doom into the actual movie
How's
because
that offensive? How's the word Doom offensive?
they just didn't. It was sort of that limbo area of comic book films where I think what happened was they were afraid to be total comic book. So they sort of went body horror with that Fantastic Four film, and it just didn't work because they didn't. I mean, this is 2 years after the Avengers, so they clearly were not watching that what a comic book movie meant had changed. I think they were just behind the times. And then obviously, did you know about the behind the scenes stuff with Josh Trank about how apparently he trashed the rental house he was in and would come to work, come to set hammered every single day?
Which one did he play?
That's the director.
I'm so sick of like Hollywood types. They always disappoint. I know we're human beings and that we all have pasts, so we all make mistakes. But like, just you hear the stories and you're like, what is wrong with you people? Then they have the audacity to tell us how to live our lives, and it's like, you're not from our reality. You just wander around, do whatever you want, and PR cleans it up. And then we hear about it and like, you're whack, and they're like, why doesn't anyone want to watch my films? And it's like, we're at a
Yeah, he was definitely
strangling kittens for the last 10 years, and people find out, and then you're like, why don't people like me? And it's like, God, I got to separate the art from the artist. It's hard.
It's so hard.
I didn't watch the second ones. I really liked The Thing. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with The Thing. I like The Thing. Whoever, Michael something, I think.
Chickless.
He was amazing. I saw the CGI of the next thing and thought that was bad. I really like the dude from that chef show.
Yeah, the bear.
The bear doing cooking. I love the comic accurate thing. I'm like, this is amazing.
Me too. I think that the Thing is such a fun character. I love in the trailer where he tastes the sauce and he's like, okay. I love the idea of the Thing. Ben Grimm is the person that holds that whole weird family together. That's when you know when Ben and Reed fight in the comics. I hope they have some sort of big fight eventually, because that's when you know it's serious. Because Ben is the one that always has Reed's back. So I'm hyped for that.
I think that they're respecting the aesthetic, at least, is really somebody's got it right. Chef's kiss to the outfits as well. I feel like the costumes harken back to the old 60s ones without looking dorky too much. I think Pedro's got in really good shape to play Reed Richards. Like you can tell that he's like, I didn't know how they were going to handle him because he's a phenomenal actor, but they're just shoving him in everything at the moment. And it kind of assuaged my fears. And that dude who plays Johnny Storm, who's out of Stranger Things, I think he dates Doja Cat. This is how my mind connects things.
Yeah. I forget his name.
He's good. Yeah, he's a good actor. He's a solid choice for Johnny. I'm like, I can see it. What I hate is when Hollywood, they'll physically see a human being act in a film, and then they just typecast him. They go, we need a guy who's weird and blah, blah. And they, this is probably a bad example. Who's the guy out of Suicide Squad that plays Polka Dot Man? And he's also in The Dark Knight.
Oh my gosh, I love him. I just saw him in Late Night with the Devil.
Yeah, right. He's a good example. He actually, as weirdos and stuff, I love him. I love that he respects comics, etc. But Hollywood usually do that to guys like him, but they're not the right. You know what I mean? They just shove them and you go, okay, it's this guy again. He's great. I can't say a bad word about him. He gets me excited when I see him in something.
What is his name? I swear they list everybody that made the movie except for David Dastmalchian. Yeah, he's great.
Phenomenal. Has a look that kind of like you can't stop looking at him. You're like, there's something strange, but it's like compelling. Again, some of these actors just have this thing, and you're like, why? They're just a dude with a normal face, but you like Jonathan Majors and stuff. You just like
Very
they just
unique
have,
looking.
but they have some like Michael Fassbender. He's a normal looking dude, but there's just something about them when they're on screen. They like suck in your attention. You're just like these guys carrying whatever scenes they're in.
No, they really
Yeah.
do.
The X Factor. I'll get to the next comments, and I really appreciate you guys for. Well, this is pretty on point. This is just Marvel Star Wars crossover. M Kidney, $5 donation. Thank you so much, Mr. Kidney, Mrs. Kidney, Moon Kidney. I don't have to go through all of it, and yet I do.
You do. You're very thorough.
Very thorough. Too thorough. Hey, Stoops. I hope you weren't too uncomfortable meeting all those cosplayers at MegaCon. Laughing face, laughing face, laughing face. I'm kidding. Love you guys.
Love you too. Thank you. Yeah, they were like some of the best parts of MegaCon. The Darth Maul, shout out Tobias, who I met. He was super cool. And then obviously the Darth Talon, incredible work. And we also he had a Mara Jade and a Luke Skywalker there. It was cool. No, they did a lot of work. And talking to him, the Darth Maul guy, he said he had to like sleep with the horns on so that everything would dry, and the contacts were really annoying. But he looked. I mean, you saw the video, right, Dash? He looked.
Yeah, he actually scares me. That guy.
Yeah.
I think looking in his eyes would be a little bit off-putting for the first 20 minutes, where I'd be like, I don't want to look at you, dude. You like your cosplay is so good, but you look like Satan reincarnate. Like, I don't want to look you in the eye.
I had that thought too, and then he like smiled and laughed, and I was like, okay, he's just the homie.
I could take him, rip those horns off.
Just the homies. No, he was cool.
Yeah. I saw it in the phenomenal cosplay, and obviously the other week when I was joking around, and I was like, oh, Talon is built, because I have respect for anybody that builds their body to a cosplay level. Like, you look like a superhero. Yeah. And we're joking about that. And I was like, I might have to meet this chick one day. God damn it.
No, they clearly work out like a lot. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine? Ugh.
Dude, I have this thing. I don't body shame anybody cosplaying. I think that if you got the guts and the time and the passion, go nuts. But we all want to look like the person, the characters, but the characters' proportions are not human. So when you see someone that just freaky look, you're like, do you eat celery and chicken? Is that all that like you're allowed to consume year round?
Like the mall had like the jawline and everything too. Like you're talking about, you think
his
that,
face was perfect for it. Yeah.
He was so cool. He had like the robotic legs too. Like it wasn't just robes or anything. Like he had made sure that the whole thing was correct.
Right. And they're like, oh, I spent $3,000 and 12 months building this. And you're like, shit.
There was also an Inquisitor there who I met. He was really cool. He said, what's up? And he had like a custom 3D printed gauntlet that he had on. He's the guy with the Padawan robes that we were talking about last. Robes, Padawan braids. He collected a bunch of Padawan robes.
I got messages about that, and I'm just like, this is giving me PTSD. Someone said on Discord, oh, Dash, blah, blah, blah. I want to get a lightsaber hilt with Padawan braids. And I was like, oh, why would you want to get that? I knew exactly what they were doing to me. I'm like, I'm not giving them an inch. I'm not admitting anything. I have nothing but love and respect for people, cosplayers putting their time and effort into that, because that's outside of my wheelhouse as well. Always wanted to get into cosplay, but I feel like you'd have to get into insane shit. Like I wouldn't feel comfortable looking like a paunchy Kyle Katana who like hasn't been on a mission for 3 years, just been eating good. You know what I mean? Like a bloated Thrawn.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't, even though nobody would care, they'll be like, oh, he's a human. I would care. I'll be like, these characters, you have to like look.
Putting yourself out there, man, it's tough. That's why like people that do it so naturally, you're just like, dang, good for you.
Yeah, those sons of bitches. Next comment is E. Lawrence Anderson of Arabia. $10. Thank you so much, Lawrence. I don't know what's going on in your picture because it is tiny. So I'm going to try. It's a red mist. Are you trying to look at it, Stoops? No, don't look. Don't. We're not going to keep doing the picture. He said, love you guys. Speaking the truth, dash. And I appreciate that, Lawrence.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Nada with a $4.99 donation says, Stoops and Dash, love you guys. I hope to meet you guys at a convention one day. Love these shows with you two. And of course, Theory is not welcome. No, they said, of course, Theory as well.
Yeah, guys, he's setting up for the Vancouver con tonight. So,
Cantina Talk. Regular, how you doing, dude? Needs no introduction. $2 donation to write yo with 4 O's. That's important that I specify.
yo.
Skyrim.
It wasn't
clips.
just yo, it was yo.
Yo. Skyrim Clips is a new member. Welcome. And of course, he has a Skyrim picture of a guy from a DLC who I 100% know, but his name has just eluded me. You know where you don't feel like a real fan because you know the name of somebody?
Yeah.
Have you played Skyrim?
I played forever ago, but I'm not very
There's the Dragonborn, where he says, let me show you true power, that guy. Anyway, he's...
the screamy guy.
Yeah, the screamy guy. They make a second Dragonborn as a villain in the end. It's pretty cool. Rossi, $1.49 super sticker. And I wish I could see this sticker. Thank you so much, Rossi. Rossi, I would describe that sticker, but I can't. He also donated $2. Thank you so much, Rossi, and said, thank the gods, plural. You guys got rid of that Theory guy. Love heart.
Dude, that's like Rossi's 4th dono today, too. Thank you, man.
I can't believe you just said dono. I'm taking that forever. It's never a donation. It's a dono. I think we've gotten to this point, unless Dawnstar has donated several times. I'm just going to keep reading because I do not want to leave you guys hanging. We appreciate your comments, whether you donate or not. Just know that. And your time is so valuable. So thank you so much. Just bear with me. If I've read this before, stop me. Just Stoops to say you've read it. So Dawnstar with a $4.99 dono said, huge shout out to all three of you. I've watched Wave Theory for years. Newer to Dash, we've already read that. Thank you again, Dawnstar. Rossi wanted Josh on the show. We've definitely read that.
I'm scrolling back. I'm at 9 p.m.
He's gifted 5 Star Wars Theory memberships and $2 for Josh has Acolyte production quality, 100 laughing face, sideways, and a rose. Rossi, you romantic you. CTMZ, the man, the myth, the legend, gifted 10 Star Wars Theory memberships.
Goat behavior. Goat behavior.
He is out of control.
Every week.
Yeah. And it's just slam dunks. Just every time I think he's done, he's just like, guess again, idiots. Yeah. Javier Mendez, for $9.99 said, I appreciate the authenticity from you two. Stoops, I love your lore videos. I apologize. It does say lure in my defense. And Dash, you're a really solid dude. Love you both and wish nothing but the best for you guys. Thank you, Javier.
Thank you, man. Thanks for stopping by.
There's something I was going to say to you, Stoops. Oh, that's right. After you got on camera and I watched the playback, it was the biggest thirst trap. I don't know how you're going to be single. Did you read any of the comments?
Well, the stream?
The stream and also the clips on Theory Plus.
Oh, people are super nice.
Super nice. They were just like, Stoops, chef's kiss, handsome, love him. I'm like, it doesn't matter if 90% of the bros propping you up. Shout out to the boys.
99.9% of the bros.
Don't matter, dude.
It does.
There's so many
it's
of them.
All love.
You're going to find real love through the comments, through this stream. I predict I'm putting this out in the universe.
Hey, man, I'm all for it.
Holden Hecht, which is alliteration at its best. Holden Hecht. $4.99, and has an ice cube. A very cinematic, like it's a thoughtful picture of an ice
that
cube with
does
a
look
shadow.
good.
You found it.
I did.
I like it better when you have no idea what I'm saying. Have you considered making videos about SWOTOR stories? Anything involving the Star Cabal is super interesting and often isn't covered. Big cheers. I started a Sith Warrior playthrough and actually created 3 characters in tandem so that I could do each choice through the playthrough. It was very cumbersome to go through a mission 3 times just to do each quest. I've also got some streams on my channel, but SWOTOR, I want to finish KOTOR before SWOTOR because the stories are head and shoulders, but I'm replaying the Imperial Agent as we speak because people keep saying these stories are actually really good. What about you, Stoops? Have you got into SWOTOR at all?
Yeah, the lore in SWOTOR is amazing too. I just did a video about Calig, Aloysius Calig, and that whole like Darth Nox connection. No, those stories are incredible. You could sink hours into those games.
Hours. It's like lifetimes. It's just like the problem with it is that it is so sickeningly long. There's no load save aspect. So when you're filming it, we heavily, if we don't have material sourced already, you have to play the game, but you play it, I would say probably 3 to 5, even 10 times slower because you talk to a character, you stop for 30 seconds so that you can talk over that point, then you move to the next character. Boohoo dash, you have to play a game for longer. The point is, if it takes, probably a couple hundred hours to get through everyone's storyline, you got to times that by 10 to film and to make videos. It's thousands of hours. And so It's a big commitment. A part of me wished that in 2012 or 2011 when it came out that I actually started genuinely. I started with the Jedi Knight storyline, was a huge KOTOR fan and Revan's story. And so, I wish I started then, but it's a huge time commitment. I'll get around to it one day. The Wise Sith is a new member, and I've seen him around a lot too. I know icons, and it's a picture of a man with a beard, with a bow tie, and one eye X'd out. Now, I don't know what that means. Think about it, dude, though. Somebody sat down and gone, I want a picture of a dude with a beard, like just an outline of a head.
And like an eye X'd out.
What's symbolic about that? I love this shit.
Dude, why Sith? If you're here, what is that?
Let us know in the comments below. Wrath Sinful, who has an axe of a guitar and $2 donation, says, do you think Revan had Sith eyes? Not in my playthrough, baby. Only playthrough number 4 after I get bored of the light side.
I think Darth Revan he's always got to have Sith eyes.
Ooh, I use mods to stop the Sith corruption on his face. No,
really?
No word of a lie. They look so manky.
Yeah. I guess it does make him look, I don't know if weaker would be the right word, but
decrepit. The dark side takes a toll, and I know Plagueis says that it's a sickness nobody would want to be cured of, but he also said something. I was just listening to the chapter about how it shouldn't take too much toll. And like, you are basically the master of the dark side, and so you should be able to control it. So it's one of those things where they seem to pick and choose,
Oh,
Dooku.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah. So I would
Revan
say
would have more control of it. Yeah, that makes sense.
Revan full power is light and dark, and his fall was a choice. So I don't know. He's an anomaly in the Force. He's not like George Lucas says, if you go down the dark path, it'll forever dominate your destiny. This dude dominated the Force's
both destinies.
Yeah. And then came back and did it again.
Why Sith says it's the Sith insignia over his eye. That's pretty cool, man.
That is actually badass. Mojat with a picture of what I assume is 40K. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's Imperial the blue armored dudes. I know nothing about 40K. He's a member for 32 months, and this may be the last month because I've disrespected 40K. I apologize. He said, help us at the Den of Nerds live. You're our only hope. Time to convert Stoops and Dash over to Warhammer. He said it about Warhammer. My cousin, when I go to Christmas, has a mouthful of turkey, and he's like, so when are you going to play Warhammer? And I'm like, dude.
I've heard it's super fun.
It's the commitment, the lore. It is so big, so vast. It's so overwhelming. I used to play it as a kid and just collect them because my brother did. But like, You don't just step into Warhammer and be like, oh, I'm a casual. Warhammer steps on you and you accept it. You lovingly say, step on me. That's Dan Otaku. That's a cute play on words. Is a member for 5 months and has the Starforge banner and Revan banner in his picture. So that's awesome. This dude knows what's up. George has gifted a New Zealand, I don't know why it shows us the currency, a Kiwi $3.49, which is like $3.30 Australian. Not that it diminishes it, but it's probably like $2.80 USD. Again, doesn't diminish it. It's just so interesting when you see the disparity in currency. You're like, oh man.
It's funny that YouTube does that.
Yeah. Well, it's not like, oh man, we get less. It's like, oh man, the Australian dollar gets the shit kicked out of it. You know, like we're not as strong as the US. He wrote Win Dash, Win Stoops, Win Theory, Win Josh, Den of Nerds.
I concur.
I mean, who do you see carrying this stream? There's only 2 of us.
Get those other 2 out of here.
Get it? I don't want to hear about it. No, I don't want to hear about it again.
Don't you mention Theory.
Yeah. On his chat, he's probably screaming at his phone.
I don't want to hear it.
Yeah. Rossi, the big bad boy for $5 said, what do you guys think of the Mara Jade show rumors? Don't you do this to Rossi. And she would never have be married to Luke. And this is obviously the Zendaya rumors that people have lobbed out there as a grenade to piss people off. If you had to write her into canon, how would you do it?
You can't.
Dude, you just make her the Emperor's hand and then make her show up at Luke's new Jedi Academy and fall in love. And bada bing, bada boom, when I walk in, I'm the king of the room. Like, we're done.
And then they just never mentions her ever again.
She gets killed by Ben. You don't want Solo to Jason her? Titus?
It's way too late. I just, I wish that they would just tell an Elseworld story or something like that. I really would love to see Mara Jade, but I just don't see how putting her
Elseworld. Clever.
Yeah, I mean, what else are they going to do? They freaking ruined Luke.
Gummed it up. Yeah.
Do you like Mara Jade as a character? I've always really liked her. I thought.
Yeah, I've loved her. I like when she showed up. I think it was a story, and she was fighting between pillars. Remember? And she was turning her saber off and on, and Luke's jaw was on the ground because he couldn't believe at her skill level.
Yeah,
I love the idea that she's like a fake concubine of the Emperor, but is just like such a killer badass, and she turns good. Very, very compelling writing for Mara Jade, even in Mysteries of the Sith, which I mentioned earlier erroneously.
And her story continues to be good too. Like you mentioned Kaitis and everything, but her arc in those books and her conflict with Darth Kaitis is really interesting too. Because Kaitis is trying to turn Ben to the dark side, her son, and she has, embraced the dark side before, so she knows what comes with that. But she also knows how they operate. So her arc is really good. I love Mara Jade.
Yeah, Zendaya for Mara Jade. I'm sure that will be compelling.
No.
I always visualize Disney if they had their way with just shit writing and shoehorning characters in, that Zendaya walks into the room as Mara Jade and people are fighting and she just says stop and it's like a force scream. She just blasts them into infinity. Nothing. People start worshipping her instantly and she's just
never
a force
makes
god.
Any mistakes. Best
yeah,
pilot.
She just elevates. She starts floating up into the heavens. There's a planet with her face on it. It's so bad.
It's like, if I were around, Ben would have never turned to the dark side. That stuff. Ugh.
It's X-Women, not X-Men. That was so funny. I was like, I can't believe you just said that.
Yeah, that's one of the most on-the-nose lines in movie history.
Right. It's almost like it feels like a telephone hits you over the head. You're like, oh my God. Just the subtlety. Have you ever? No. Okay. Storytelling. No. Okay.
I love that the internet flamed that though. Because that sort of isn't that an apocalypse quote or something? Yeah.
Yeah. The internet isn't stupid. And this is what I love. If you want to see the best comedy, look at somebody do something dumb or be prideful where they don't deserve it. And the internet, if the culture doesn't let them talk about it at the time, like it was taboo with Ray and the Mary Sue rhetoric back in the day, the internet will catch up and they come up with like some of the most poignant, gut punching, straight to the truth statements. Like you can run, but you can't hide before people collectively. And I think that's what they underestimate. Like it's people are dumb. It's the 90s and they don't have a platform to actually give valid criticism. And so it all foments and like catches up and bubbles up into this like beautifully like succinct reason why they screwed up. And they absolutely hate the internet for it, which is the best part. They're like, screw you, we're doubling down. And the internet turned sexist because they hate X-Men Apocalypse. Like that's all that they've got. That's it. They're just like paid some site to say that. And they're like, well, we've done our job. Let's keep milking this franchise.
The worst.
It's
I'm glad it happened though. Someone's got to hold them accountable. It's not going to be their bosses.
No, the accountability factor is really good and healthy. And it gives me pride to be a fan because I feel like 99, again, I don't see people being like they don't go underhanded. They don't go like, what's the actress, Jennifer Lawrence?
Yeah.
Nobody's like, Jennifer Lawrence should be put in a duffel bag and killed and, her remains sent to Marvel or Fox Studios for what they've done. Nobody says that. And if they do, it's probably a plant, like they've hired somebody to say that so they can cry on the internet. But you never see anybody say anything outside of like, this sucks, or they make a joke that's funny. Like the internet mostly is pretty good at holding people to accord. These companies love to be shielded by.
The thing that always has blown my mind with stuff like that is someone wrote it, then it was in through all these phases of the scripts, and then the actress performed it, they edited it, and they were like, hell yeah, we're making a difference, we're sending a message. Money man,
I just imagine them in a corporate meeting. That whiteboard where they were just writing everything in the Star Wars thing was the funniest thing. I know that's the key cornerstone of brainstorming, like you cut shit out, but that whiteboard will go down in history as the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I love it.
Our first stream, Theory hadn't seen it. I brought it up and he was like, I don't know what that is. And I showed it to him and he was like,
I don't think his brain could accept that it's real. Mine can't. I'm like, these people are like gone to college and are quote unquote writers. And you always think that they know so much more than you and they're so much more talented. But then you see things like the guy who wrote The Godfather literally made The Godfather, shit himself and said, I got to write a screenplay number 2. How do I write a screenplay number 2? Picked up a book that said how to write a screenplay, and it said follow the beats of The Godfather. So he went, was it Francis?
He went back to his own thing. Yeah.
He was like, oh,
Coppola directed.
I guess Coppola maybe he wrote it. I'm going to just throw it. Like, I know you know what I mean? So you always think that they know so much more than you, but
they're just guys too, right? I mean,
they're just people. Yeah. Putting too much faith in the system. But also I think a lot of talent gets snuffed out. Like it gets silenced by the money men. I always just picture the money men in there because I worked in, when I was working in gaming, we had a lot of ad spend from bigger companies that would try and dictate what we did. So they'll be like, okay, we want you to make a Fallout video. And go, cool. And they go, but we want you to base it on X. And it had nothing to do with Fallout. And I was like, why do you think this works? And it would turn out, I'd get to the bottom of it. And some dude in the money, like someone in the marketing department, not marketing, just the ad spend department, saw something in some unrelated show or game and thought it was awesome. And it's like, this is your idea. And you're telling us we have to do this. Like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. But they were like, they would stand by like, I am awesome. And I'll be like, if you're so awesome, make the effing video yourself. Yeah. But you know what I mean? It's ideas are worth nothing.
Lucas said, what was it that like the studios are like made up of some of the least equipped people to make films in all of Hollywood? There's some sort of Lucas quote.
Yeah. No, I saw George say, and he's right. Like they're just
not capable of it. They're just not creatives, and they're just, they're businessmen. We talked about this earlier. They approach it completely business wise, and I think that removes a lot of the emotion and the care that you need in movies.
You can feel it.
You
can
can
feel
the
it.
authenticity. You can absolutely feel it. You
It's
can
like
feel it
like-
when Disney's stepping in and they're like, no, Grogu's going back to Mando.
Yeah, but you don't know why. I feel like our subconscious is so much more powerful than we give it credit. Like if somebody did a broad stroke of one color on a plank and put it in a museum and they'd thought about it for 30 years, I feel like you would probably discern, I know this is a pretty skeptical like of this example, but you can feel the intent behind the art, even if it's not something you understand. There's this weird part of art that has an intent and it's intrinsic to it. It is, sometimes it's not tangible, but you can feel it. And you can also feel the opposite where they may not come out and say that they just did it because they want to tick boxes for audiences, but you feel this like the money men just tamper. You just know it. And it's like, it's so frustrating. It's like, I know
Because
what
it's
you're
such
doing.
an easy
I
fix.
don't like it.
It's such an easy fix. Hire people that care about it. That's all
Right.
you need.
And even if they screw up, you respect it. You go, you know what? Attack of the Clones isn't my favorite film, but I love what came out of it. I love the expanded universe that it bore, all the games and media. And I love that George was original and he saw his vision through.
Yeah.
I respect,
and he pushed
I may not like it.
He pushed limits too.
At all times, he pushed himself to be creative. And I just, nothing but respect, even if I don't agree with it. And that's, yeah, compared to, oh, Grogu sell toy. Grogu go in.
More Grogu, need more.
Grogu never die. I get richer. I don't know why they're like. But okay, back to super chats.
Grogu Mando together, good.
Grogu!
I like.
Grogu. That they're meeting, they're all just yelling Grogu in different ways. Zek E with a picture of himself in a mirror, doing the mirror selfie. Respect. $2.99 Australian. So I'm going to say nothing but glowing things about you. Zach, you're an absolute scholar and a gentleman. He said, thoughts on the abandoned Star Wars 1313 game?
Would love to see it.
One of the best concepts outside of the Force ever. If it's a show, I would love to see the underbelly of Coruscant. As you know, Star Wars 1313 was based on Boba Fett being young and going through the lower levels of Coruscant, where level 1313, as it goes lower and lower, it gets more and more seedy. Now, I love shows that are crime-based, like Breaking Bad, or even more so Better Call Saul. I would love to see a crime mafioso show in the levels of 1313, the politics, and not the bubblegum version of it where it's all happy and, you know, they all get along at the end of the day, even though they're bad guys. Because I feel like the Mandalorian, one thing that killed, I remember in the promos for it, when he gets the guy with the door, when he kills the guy with the door, and it turns out he doesn't die and he's just a wise talking guy on the ship. That was one of the moments where I went, uh-oh, I don't like that this is a good guy Mandalorian. That's his wrinkle, that he's Disney friendly. I want to see grit. I want to see gangsters that screw each other over and it gets worse and worse and worse. And, you know, maybe the
bounty hunter, like a real one.
Right.
Real dirty bounty hunter.
Well, The Sopranos is, the through line for The Sopranos is Tony is a gangster who thinks that their time is over and wants to become better. And obviously he starts to go down a darker path. Breaking Bad is obviously Walter White is a teacher who breaks bad and he becomes a meth, like a drug dealer, cook, I should say. And you think that he's doing it for his family, but the wrinkle in the story is that it's always been him. His ego has always been out of whack. You find out he was meant to be a billionaire and he's got a chip on his shoulder because it all fell through due to his pride. And the monster that he's always been slowly comes through. So I need a wrinkle in a character. I need something that goes against what you think is going to be the norm for them. Like a bounty hunter, not with a heart of gold, but maybe somebody who has chances to get out of 1313, but sinks into it due to their own hubris. That would be pretty cool, where they actually become the gangster that they despised. Somebody kills their family at the start and they swear revenge, but they become the thing that they hate at the end. And then they start killing families.
The evolution of morality.
Yeah. This is where you don't have to do light and dark. You can do dark and dark or intimate. Like there's so much playroom, but the thought that people are human like waste compared to the upper levels, that the Jedi are basically prancing around in their little temple sipping herbal tea and having meetings while people are like their crap is being filtered down into 1313. Like you see a pipe and Yoda shit just floats down it during the that's where I want to go to. That's where
No, that would be incredible.
I'll tell you a story I was going to tell about Coruscant's lower levels. I was starting to think, what if I started covering real history in the Star Wars setting? Because real history is the most messed up thing. I actually prefer fantasy because it's too confronting knowing it's happened. And what I was going to do is create an ex-Corsec guy, so Coruscant security, who set up shop in the low levels of Coruscant, and he was teaching a special form of hand-to-hand self-defense, but he was a bastard, And the reason being is there was a guy who was a Marine, an ex-Marine in real life, and he set up shop in a mall, and he had a guy that used to wander around who was mentally handicapped, and he used to try and fight everybody. I'd call him in my Star Wars Coruscant setting a Chani Mike. He thinks he knows a Chani, but he doesn't. Same as the real life guy didn't know martial arts. He wandered into that guy's studio in real life and challenged someone, and they kicked the shit out of him.
Oh, I think I
remember that. He hit his head on a pole and he dislodged his esophagus or something. He started to choke to death and on his own blood, and they grabbed his body and threw him into a bin out the back in an alley, and he died. And the cops came and the dude said Semper Fi. He asked for it. Now, I don't have anything against Marines. I, obviously am very thankful for our protection, and I'm not trying to diminish that, but clearly that dude was an asshole. And if you could tell that as Corsec Mike versus a Chani, whatever, Tim, in the Star Wars universe, that is something that would happen in the lower levels, I believe. Or, like some guy who's mentally not well goes in to fight somebody and gets killed, and the security looks the other way when they come down to clean up the scene. Like those heartbreaking short stories that you feel the real life through line, but you empathize with the characters. It's Star Wars, but it's the darker. I'm always about the darker.
So then it would be like that guy's son that would become the bounty hunter. Is that you're thinking, or just like?
That was just a standalone story, but it could be his brother. Like the dude was mentally handicapped and his brother seeks revenge against the studio. And like, then after he beats him up, he realizes that like a gangster is actually running the whole syndicate. And he, that was maybe a guy that was affiliated. Event. Inciting event. But you know what I mean? There's so many stories that you can grab from real life or fantasy. Like the Thing made into Star Wars is Red Harvest, basically, and mixed in. There's so many ways that you just remix a story, and I hate to use YouTube words, but you just change it, a real life story or a fantasy story, and put it into the Star Wars setting, and it becomes compelling instantly. Like there's so much.
I think Andor tried to be sort of serious, but for me, Andor doesn't always work. Like the opening of it where, what is it? He's going into like a brothel in the beginning, right? And there's some sort of shootout. That's sort of like the seriousness of the real world, but I don't know. I don't love Andor. I feel like it's one of those.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a camp aspect to it where it's like still, it's like the Mandalorian where he doesn't kill the guy, where they lean into the darker side and go, oh, and they pull back at the last second.
Yeah, they pull back.
Kidding. And then the stakes, you go, well, I fell for that once, and then they do it again and again and again. There's no payoff to the setup. And so then you're just kind of frustrated. Andor was head and shoulders above other things, and I think that's why it gets the love. But then when they had the bricks with the screws, I just turned it off. Theory's going to like clip this and be like, send it to me. You're done. I'm bringing my lights. Yeah. Javier Mendez for $1.99. Hello, Javier again. Said, you guys are like, I'm sorry I read it the way you wrote it. You guys like Satele Shan?
I do like Satele. She's cool.
What about those cutscenes where she force absorbs that lightsaber and it tricks Malgus for a second? You see the surprise in his eye, and then she force waves him into the rocks. Was so badass. Cool. I was like, I couldn't believe what I was watching.
Double-bladed blue lightsaber too, like one of the first ones that we actually get to see, where it's like a Jedi using it. That was awesome.
Is she a consular or it's an offshoot? Remember, because there was the Sith assassin, and then the double bladed was something else.
I'm not
Anyway, it clearly showed that Malgus as a Sith warrior was going to always overpower her in single-handed combat, and so, which is right for her character, and so she just wasn't overpowered for no reason. The fact that Force Absorb is such a little used and seen power that he was like visibly shocked. He was like, "Holy shit!"
Or it's just that she caught his lightsaber too. That moment's awesome.
Oh,
And just holding it, it looks cool too, because you see like the heat coming off of her palms, and it's like getting closer and closer. It's a great moment. That might be the best moment in any of those cinematics.
Well, I always wanted to see the cinematic of the similar thing with Kieran Halcyon's Nisha Halcyon, whoever the guy was that was Corran's grandfather. Do you remember that in I, Jedi?
What happens?
So the Halcyon line from Corellia are famous for one thing. They can't use telekinesis. They can't pick rocks up. They can't force jump. They're grounded. And people knew that about them, and it kind of made them a little bit of a joke. But the upswing, the wrinkle in this story, is that they use Force Absorb. Like when he went into that gangster's hideout and those turbo lasers hit him, and he kind of like took them and absorbed it. So what happened is he saw, I think through psychometry or whatever, however it was, he saw a vision of his grandfather, and his grandfather goes to battle these Sith acolytes from memory. They were dark side users. And one of them like does a 50-foot force leap towards him, and he's like, oh, fuck, like this is real. And that guy hones in on him. He duels him, and the guy gets the upper hand on the grandfather. And this is crazy. The guy beats him down and then shoves his lightsaber into his heart. But before he dies, he uses his last breath to absorb the power and then throws him telekinetically back and kills him, like crushes every bone in his body. Like the biggest, most gangster way to die. And I'm just like, God damn that. I would love to see that. Like imagine that in a SWTOR trailer. Yeah, the fact that they said he took in every single joule of the lightsaber, like every little skerrick of energy it had, and it flickers out. As you know, and then his heart is burnt to a husk. He just dies because.
Oh, so like you see the lightsaber extinguished too.
Yeah, he sucks it in. So the guy's like, haha, you're dead. And then he's like, am I? And then just throws him, and then he dies, obviously. But like the best way to go down after somebody is gloating in their victory.
That's epic.
It is beyond epic. It's one of those things that carried with me. It was one of the things that made me a full fan of Star Wars and Force powers, because I, Jedi, takes pains to break down the Force, but also like the defensive barriers of lightsaber stances and like how, like everything about combat and the Force.
It's all intricate. It's not just straightforward. Dude, we get derailed so quickly.
We get excited, dude. It's from mystical to the science, and I love that. Rossi, again, you're out of control, bro. Legend. $10 says, my favorite memory of MegaCon was when I first met Wave and looked into those dreamy eyes. Nope, at the booth, and we just kicked it with the Saber team for around 15 minutes. It felt like talking to a longtime friends. It was so chill and fun. Love heart.
It was awesome, wasn't it, Rossi? I definitely agree. Everybody, we're not fans of Disney, and Disney don't think fans of us, and we're all fans of Star Wars, and that just unites people really well. And yeah, the Theory Sabers team and frankly everybody at MegaCon was just so awesome. It was an incredible experience. I know we're talking about you doing the next one. It's fun, man. I know you've showed your face before and people know who you are, but have you ever done like a convention like that where viewers come and say hi?
I've done meetups before, and it's the greatest thing ever.
It is.
I just started talking like this though to a crowd of people and realized I was trying to explain videos in person, my hands waving around and stuff. And I don't know. I loved it. I love the energy. I am like an energy vampire. When people get excited, like you're one of those people where I start to hear the passion come in, bleeds in. Like it doesn't matter what someone's talking about. As soon as they get passionate, I start to like
you lock in,
jump in. I'm locked in. I'm like, I'm all in. Let's go. And so yeah, it's so crazy in real life. Hey,
I think next year will be so fun. And I know Theory mentioned like maybe doing this like live, like It's called a panel, right? Like at a panel. Yeah, that would be crazy.
What did you call it?
A panel?
Are you gonna stick with that word?
Is that not what it's called?
It's called. I'm sorry. Panel, you say? I've never heard of this. Panel. Major. Is that another selfie, bro? You're making it. You're bringing them back. $10. Thank you so much. Change comes from within. Oh, now he's going to say something really poignant, and I feel like an idiot setting it up like that. Change comes from within. The victim mindset will forever paralyze you. It is the dark side. The woe is me mentality, feeding on the fear you produce caused by the apathy to resolve it. Fight it. That's aimed at you, Stoops, not me. I'm joking. Look,
I'm just
going
like,
to say
what does he say?
I'll agree with you, and I'll say this because I've been thinking about it. Another guy, Cyberduck42, who I used his quote about entitled characters that they love to write them, who are empowered or always victims. I've been thinking about this for like a week straight. So I'll say this. The victim mentality is a drug because you take no responsibility and you are a victim. So therefore, it's not your fault, and it's not your fault to do anything about it. The downside is if you're a victim, you can never change because once you actually take power, well, then you're not a victim, so you have to do something. And so what it robs you of, even though it may be true and you may be a victim, it robs you of change. It takes your power and your agency away because you see yourself as a victim, so you can't move forward. And therefore it robs you of your future. You're treading water because you're not changing your fate. Even if you are a victim, it's the onus on the individual to then change your fate so that you are not a victim anymore and you have a brighter future. And the allure of saying you're a victim, it's not your fault, like the housing market's screwed up. I know that's a very direct one, but the housing market in Australia and America, everywhere is screwed. The economy's screwed. And I'm not saying people should like have to fix it. Like obviously there are things that people need to do to fix that. And I'm sorry that I use that example because that's a hot button, but I feel like that's a real example of where things need to change. But in movies, they have kind of capitalized on this victim mentality where if they're victims, they're not only do they not have to grow, but they're quote unquote right. And so therefore everybody around them has to change.
I had a really powerful experience when I was younger. I think it was like 18. You know, I was really heavy my whole childhood, super heavy, you know, and as a fat kid growing up, it can be brutal. Just growing up period is brutal.
For sure.
But I remember being really sad about it one night and laying in my bed and just being like, oh my gosh, I'm so fat and I'm disgusting and I'm so unhealthy. And for the first time in my life, I had another thought. And that second thought was, what are you going to do about it? And, you know, that was crazy for me. That moment changed where I finally took accountability for, you know, the things that I was eating and the fact that I wasn't exercising and doing all these things that I knew I should be doing. And I just said, you know, that sucks. There's no denying that sucks. But I have a choice to either let that continue to suck or I can change it and I can start tomorrow.
And to add to that, you have every right to be a victim in that scenario of if you're bullied, if you're put down.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that people don't have a right to be like, something in your life has been terrible and it has occurred and you're right. But one of the horrible things about being a victim and being right, you know, is the fact that it will keep you in place. You will tread water at that place unless you change it. Like you could have literally said, okay, I'm bullied for being fat and I'm a victim. Cool. That's right. But then what happens in 15 years when you've put on a couple 100 pounds and you can't walk and you're like, I'm a victim because like it owns you. That's the problem, is that you should feel it for a while. And I'm not saying people have to just get up and go, I'm awesome and nothing affects me.
No,
because
it took me 18 years.
But there's a time like there is a natural cycle where you should feel bad. I'm not one of those people that are like claim responsibility. You didn't jump in front of that bullet, Bruce Wayne. You're a pathetic kid and you should have saved your family. No, there are victim times, but there is a time where you have to, if you want your life to progress, you have to take ownership and say, even if I'm right, it's on me to fix this. As horrible as it is, because you didn't do it to you. You know what I mean? Well,
Absolutely.
I was going to say you did too, but you and I both are like natural eaters. I don't know if you want to talk about this because I think it's cathartic. I'm one of those people, if I take my hands off the wheel, especially in COVID, I just put weight on and then I wake up and I finally weigh myself and I go, how the hell did that happen? Probably because I didn't exercise and ate what I wanted. But you lost a phenomenal amount of weight before you came on camera, like between breaking up with a girl and getting on camera, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Would you speak to that? I'm just
sure.
because it gives me hope.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was in a relationship and my grandfather passed away. And those are two things that are super hard, especially the relationship wasn't going great. So it was already, on the downward trajectory. And then my grandfather passed away, who was my best friend for my whole life. And
I'm sorry for your loss. Sorry.
Oh, thank you.
Interjecting. Grandparents are the greatest. Anyway.
They are. But honestly, after breaking up with the girl and just being left to your own devices and your own mind and seeing like, yeah, I've put on a lot of weight. I got too comfortable. It's time to, take back control and control the things that I can control, which is my body and my health. And also, man, I kind of felt that, I'm in my late 20s. Not that you can't get in shape when you get older, but I sort of felt like the period of life where I could be at my best was closing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because you start running out of testosterone. Like
right.
It literally starts to make it harder and harder.
Right.
But to that point, you'd been heavy as a child and bullied, and you lost the weight. You got really shredded. The only other picture I saw of you in 2017.
Yeah, I was super skinny.
Super skinny. I remember that because I commented it on Twitter. I still remember. You put the weight back on, and would you mind saying how much weight that you actually lost, like you put on and lost again? Because people talk about how shredded and muscly you are, but this isn't without a significant amount of work.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I was definitely I was 6 foot tall in 8th grade, 300 something pounds, but it wasn't all fat. I was definitely a football player and I was good at it. So that sort of became the excuse, right? It's I'm a lineman. I'm supposed to be big. But what happens when the lineman doesn't play college football,
Remember the Titans.
Yeah. Yeah. But then, putting on weight in the relationship, I was still training at the time, lifting weights, which honestly, I think saved me a lot and helped me put on a lot of muscle because I was eating in the surplus. I wasn't doing cardio or anything, but it still helped me to put on a lot of muscle. But after that, I mean, I just love exercising. It feels like it's one of the things that I can control completely in my life. And I love the idea of going to the gym because it's a place where everybody in there is just trying to be better. And just, it's a cool place. And then lots of cardio, lots of walking. I listen to audiobooks while I walk. It's how I lost a lot of weight when I was 18, man, is I listened to the Darth Plagueis audiobook for the first time walking. So
Walking
Star
straight.
Wars. Yeah. So Star Wars.
Cardio. Give us a number. Give us a number, Stoops. I know you told me.
You're asking for a number. The most I ever weighed on a scale was probably 320, something like that. The most.
And this is how long ago?
I was probably 320 when I was 18, 19, but I was definitely 300 pounds about a year and a half ago. I'm
not shaming you because you're in good shape right now. And how much do you weigh now?
I'm 217.
He said this. He said this the other day. This isn't making him say it on camera.
No, you're good. I'm not
83 pounds in a year. When you put weight on as you get older, it gets harder because you're just I've done this again. Like putting weight on is so much harder than maintaining weight. So the fact that you've like sheer willed it, think about this, like everybody's like, look at you, Stoops, look at this sexy man. He's so buff. They're all commenting on your body. I just want them to know for their own peace of mind, anybody struggling, that he worked his ass off to scrub 80 pounds to get, you know what I mean? Like it just, you didn't just wake up and go like, I'm sexy and like that would be a fight to do it a second time.
Yeah, it definitely was a fight. I think what helped me though is that I was in shape before and the body wants to bounce back, you know? So, and I mean, just like a great support system. And I genuinely love lifting weights. Like lifting weights brings me so much happiness. It's something that I think I'm good at. And it's something that I like to be around other people that have a passion for. But yeah, when you're heavy and you got to step foot in the gym for the first time, and you know you've been to that gym before and people have seen the skinnier, better in shape you, that shit's tough.
Ooh. And
you just gotta put it behind you and be like, this is what it is. And
it's hard. Like everybody who puts on weight feels like they've let people down. I said it to Stoops. I said, like, when I came back, because, you know, I put on the COVID weight and then I lost it all. And then I had a kid and I stopped working out for a while and put weight on. I said, like, my biggest fear was if I got like really fat and then came back to Star Wars, like on camera, and people were like, that's not Dash, that's slow. Like, like, you know what I mean? Like, but
yeah, of course,
you feel like you owe somebody, you feel like you owe people like to never be fallible or human or like things to change, and you're not allowed to age or get heavier or like anything. And so I was
it's embarrassing, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's embarrassing to be. I used to play basketball like every day, and it was super skinny, and COVID happened, so all the gyms shut down, and all I had was basketball. So I was like super thin, and then, you know, I got a girlfriend, and you said I got loved up and got comfortable.
Happens.
And
eat some candy, watch this movie instead of going to the gym. Okay, baby. Just over and over. You know what I did in COVID, actually, because I used to work out so stringently and I would have like an app to track my calories. I was over dieting. I was eating like 1,500 calories a day.
That's rough. That's a big deficit.
And then I would, on the Sunday, I'd do the rock cheat meals. Like, I think that was like borderline, something's wrong here, because I felt like I had to do that to maintain. And so when COVID happened, I said, you know what? I think my metabolism may be damaged, or maybe my brain. I'm just going to eat like a normal human being, see what happens. I put on a shit ton of weight is what happened. And then you have
tried
to like
to be an intuitive eater, but you know, people like you and me, it's like intuitive eating is like, I'm eating all the time.
Italian. Yeah. It's like this food in front of me. I intuit, I must consume it at a fast rate. No, so I've lost like a lot of the weight, and it's just, but much slower and healthier now, but it's amazing. I just want people to kind of, if anybody's struggling, I hope there's one person that goes, shit, you can do it. And Stoops getting all the love. Yeah, I know, but like, that's an inspirational story, dude.
Thank you, man. I mean, I look up to others that are on that journey too. I mean, when I was trying to lose weight, watching people on YouTube and their vlogs of like weight loss, like that stuff helps, because it makes you realize that it's not a unique experience that you're going through. It's a universal experience in life. And there are millions of people out there that struggle with their weight. And if you just,
but you don't think like they say, like technically 60% of people are obese, but you feel like you're the only one that puts on weight. And it's the dumbest thing, but yeah, brain lies to you.
It's not true. But I mean, I would be a liar if I said when I was heavy, the comments that people would make from like when I was thin didn't bug me. I mean, of course they did. But I think what you got to do is you got to take those comments and you have to realize the truth in them a little bit. And you have to look at it and be like, that guy's a dick, but I have put on weight. What can I do?
Agreed. We've gone full circle, and I apologize if we've derailed a little bit, but Theory would never let us have this conversation. Every time we talk to him, because we're both eaters, we're like, what are you doing, Theory? And he's like, I got to eat this protein. Like, what is it? Creatine gummy? Otherwise I'll die. I'm like, what? And he's like, I haven't eaten for 3 days. I forget. And I'm like, my brain is planned around meals when I wake up.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm like, That's like the time is ticking. There's a countdown to the next time
I still
eat.
think of it as a reward, Dash. I can't help it. I think of food as a reward. It's one of my favorite things. Food, amazing.
Right. So yeah, but just it's funny the difference. We're the same person.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's. Do you put on muscle really well? Like I found that.
yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I do. I
that's
find
our
it,
curse. That's our cross to bear. We put on
right.
fat extremely easily, but also muscle.
Yeah, and then you hear those skinny people cry. They're like, I can't put a muscle. I'm like, I'd give anything to just eat that bucket of KFC and be like, oh well.
Yeah, because when you're the heavy kid, it's like, dang. So I went to a charter middle school, so
What does
not
that
a
mean?
like a not nice enough to be private, but not public, is how I
What
would
a
describe
great
it.
way of putting it. I can see it in my head.
Yeah. So when you go to a school like that, it's not like a public school where there are 20, 30 other fat kids in the school. It's like you and like one other guy, you know? So all the attention that kids would normally put on like a normal fat kid, I felt like was really magnified because there were literally just two of us.
Who was the bigger one?
The other one, but it was
Oh,
close.
thank God. No, but
I
that
remember
would be
Dash.
saving grace, right? Were you just like, thank God?
No.
Right, really? Like he's getting some more of the hate, and you're like, just.
It was just like because he was my friend, he was my buddy. I liked him genuinely, and it just.
It's high school. It's every man for themselves. It's the most brutal time in your life, but like just people are so ruthless.
Dude,
it's like kill or be killed. It's the Sith. It's kill or be killed.
We were at lunch one day in junior high, and they had like a picnic table outside, and I was sitting on like the edge of the table with my feet hanging off. And he came and he sat next to me, and the table like flipped. You can laugh.
No, it's not the laugh. It's the pain. It's the pain of like just what.
Oh.
And did you just roll on the ground and get up slowly and just be like, I'm done?
Yeah, I mean, what can you do? You just got to be like,
just take the brunt of it.
You just got to be like, shit, that happened.
When you get older, though, the funny thing is, I genuinely believe that 75 to 80% of bullying in school is just people trying to take the heat off them. They're like, if I'm giving this guy shit, nobody's going to see my big ass pimples or nose or ears or whatever that, insecurities that you have. Like most people probably, that's why they grow out of it when they get older, or if they're bullies, they become nurses. It's a joke. It's like a thing that people say, nurses.
No, I've heard that before. Yeah.
Which is why would you go into the care system if you want to bully people? Like, anyway, let's go to the comments to see, because they're probably going to get spicy once people when we catch up to what they've been saying. Dat Dan Ataku, my man with the KOTOR emblems, the Revan Sith Empire, said, lol, it's okay, Dash, you can go on a tangent so long as you don't start talking about your Shmi and Tuscan fanfic again.
I saw that one. I saw that super chat early, Dash. I was waiting for you to see.
I found the script, dude. It's actually tight. It's ready to go. Yeah. I can't do an Anakin voice. I can only do Watto. So I was like, could I get Theory to voice Anakin? It would be a hard sell. He'd be like,
good luck.
You have to buy sabers off me or something. But I want to be uncredited. And if this goes in, but people would love it. They would love it just for the fact that I did it. It's like, it exists, even though it's horrible. Stupendous. Whoa. Stop the fuss. Stupendous Shadow Arcade. Is this an alt account? $5. Says, hey everyone, I have a meeting with my doctor Monday to talk about surgery on my heart. I hope it all goes well. What's your favorite force ability? Number one, stupendous. I 100% hope that everything goes well at the doctor's. I mean, sending you all of the good energy that we can muster collectively like a Dragon Ball spirit bomb, dude. The heart thing is, obviously something that gives people pause, except for Theory last week when his ticker was acting up and he just refused to do something about it.
That's where
I'm proud of you for doing something about it and taking it seriously. And again, we hope that it goes well.
Please.
What's your favorite force ability? Yeah. Keep us in the loop. Stupendous Shadow Arcade. That can't be something that we'll forget.
Favorite force ability? Man, I mean, you can't go wrong with Force Lightning, right? Too basic.
Horrible. Always goes the dark side.
What do you think? Now
I'm
that
trying
you
to think
the
of-
awesome absorption abilities, that's a great number one.
That my mind snapped to that. I'm like, don't be basic, Dash. Try and think of some esoteric.
Think of a new
dumbass-
one,
Think of something stupid that doesn't
like
not a
Force
ability.
Lightning.
Yeah, like electric judgment. I'm trying to think of like the most random force ability that there is.
Isn't Malacia the one that like makes people like vomit?
I'll take it. Malacia. That's my number one. I think in terms of application, the most fun that I've had with a force ability is choke in Jedi Outcast. It is so much fun when they choke and throw. Like the throw factor is just way too much fun. Telekinesis is like top 10. Yeah. I know that absorbing shit is all cool and whatever, but like the basics, you always fantasize about having the ability to manipulate physics and make yourself jump higher and push things without touching them. Who hasn't reached out for a remote and
Pride.
thought,
just maybe.
I was going to do it again the other day. I saw Mel Gibson saying some wild shit on Joe Rogan, saying that some chi master that he worked with had, because he's an alcoholic, had pushed on his liver because he, like with chi energy, because he was trying to heal him, and he went halfway up a wall. Now, if Mel Gibson is mad as a cut snake, I don't know. But even though he wasn't born in Australia, I count him as an Aussie. So, Mel, I love you. I don't know if you are insane. But I don't know. I've got healthy skepticism that you went up a wall. But a part of me wanted to believe it. Like maybe we're behind. Maybe the science isn't real. Maybe I can force pull my remote.
He got a lot of good faith with Mad Max.
A lot of good faith. Oh, Mel. Yeah.
No
He's
kidding.
a lot. When South Park made that episode about him being batshit crazy, I thought that's kind of mean. When they were like, Mel Gibson is a great storyteller, he knows narrative, but he's insane. But sometimes he's a phenomenal storyteller. But when he said he met Christopher Walken and he was Satan reincarnate, and he said he came into the room floating sideways, I'm like, and he's serious. I'm like, are you crazy or are you like,
I want to like you so bad.
Yeah. Oh, I like crazy people. Even if what they say is whack, there's something so entertaining about them, like believing it, where I'm like, how do you say
it's
this?
genuine, sincere. There was a guy that
Kanye West, when he says, I'm like, something's broken. Like that's mental health issues. But he says it's so out of whack. It's entertaining because he 100% means whatever shit he says. And I was like, bro, sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's just like, please. Don't run for president.
No, not again. That poor man.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. And they take advantage of his mental health. But then you're like, how much can you blame on mental? Like, you know what I'm talking about, where you're just like,
accountability.
I am a god.
I love his music. I'm not gonna lie, but
that's what keeps him in the good graces, is that every time he does something, I go, God damn, he makes a good beat. And if I say I hate him, the next album's going to be a banger, and then I'm just going to shoot myself in the foot.
Yeah. That's the relationship with Kanye. It's tough. I mean,
every celebrity. Look at Michael Jackson. You're like,
yeah, true.
I don't want to go into the dark side, but like those allegations are looking pretty bad. But then you're like, he made Thriller.
There is a level of fame. Oh yeah, Chappelle was like the Kobe thing, like play for your freedom.
Yeah. We're gonna get in trouble for this. Wrath Sinful again with the axe lick. $2, two for two. Said, did Anakin lose any potential when he lost his arm? If you want to believe the midichlorian kind of mitochondria relationship, he lost a lot of potential, and it just got worse when he got hacked into bits. But then you think, well, is it the total pool of mitochondria? Because if that midichlorians, I love that he just usurped a word, and co-opted, I should say. And then you go, well, then by that logic, smaller beings like Yoda would be less powerful. If he was like Hulk size Yoda for the memes, He would be
Yeah,
he'd be
doesn't really
10x power.
track.
No, it doesn't track, but they did say multiple times, to my recollection, it did nerf his power.
Marginally.
Wrathful Sinful, comment number 2 for $2. Dash, is Macca's, he spelt it Mackers. A true Australian would spell it Maccas for McDonald's, Macca's. Better in Australia or US? Australia, we have really good high quality beef because we've got so much pasture land that can't be used for anything else. It's like second only to like the Wagyu, I think, of Japan. Like our beef is prime. USA in general, the food tastes more processed is the best way that I can say it. Because your regulations, we don't have that corn syrup shit. We don't have a lot of the garbage that you guys get to put in food, which is slowly killing you a lot faster than it should. That's my take. Having said that though, my favorite takeaway meal, which is, I don't know, I can't tell you why. We've all tried diets and stuff before. When I tried keto for like a month, I had a double sausage and egg muffin without the muffin. I still eat it without the muffin to this day. That shit, the double sausage and egg, for some reason,
McDonald's breakfast is god tier, man.
The goat. That's all I'd eat. If they put a gun to my head and said you can't eat anything else, I'd just go double sausage and egg muffin. Just do it.
I have some nights where I work and it gets into like 4:30, 5 a.m. and I'm like, McDonald's breakfast is open.
It's the greatest.
Don't you crack? And sometimes I crack because like I love the burrito. No, they're really not that bad actually. That's another thing, and you're getting a lot of protein, but still, you got to count those calories. If anybody here is starting to lose weight or trying to, the only advice or the one piece of advice that I would really hammer home is that a calorie is just a metric of energy. So if you can count exactly how many metrics of energy you're expending every day and you come in below that, you will lose weight. You can eat what you want to some extent. Obviously, I wouldn't push eating unhealthy foods, but a calorie is a calorie at the end of the day. They're the same. A calorie of ice cream is the same as a calorie of broccoli. And if you come in under, you will lose weight.
And it's funny how there's different schools of thought. Last week when you said that Theory, when you asked Theory how he manages, because Theory's pretty loose with everything for how much of a unit he is. He literally said, I don't ever count calories. I just manage my insulin level. So I eat things that don't spike my insulin and I'm fine. I eat whatever I want. And you just
I have to track everything, Dash, or I won't progress.
That's how I am. The next chat is from M Kidney again. Don't play with me, M. For $2, he said, did y'all read my last super chat? Bro, I'll never forget the M Kidney name. To the day I die, it is burned into my retinas because I'm reading these out too much. So I'm remembering all of your names forever now. O'Dawn from the Discord. He's a talented 3D artist. I know. He's a very good man. For $19.99 said, hey, Dash and Stoops. Thank you. I'm sure you'll both make Theory proud tonight. That's questionable. I think I saw him comment earlier. What? He didn't super chat. Don't be cheap, Theory. Glad you two decided to stream anyway. Money goes back to him. I appreciate all the hard work and great content you bring. Keep it up. You are such a delight and a positive force in my life. Thank you, dude. I don't say it enough.
Thank you. Dude, Theory's so chill. It's just like, do you guys want to hop on the channel anyway? I know I'm not here, but why not? That's so fucking cool. That's so cool.
It is trust. We could just like write a list of banned words and just say just chant over and over again.
I was so surprised when he did that, and I was like, you know what? Hell yeah, I want to go live.
I wasn't surprised. I was like, that's so Theory. Just to be like, you know what? Let's see how this pans out. Roll the dice. Because you think because he's like number one, he's going to have all these plans and shit, but he's like a dude who trusts himself implicitly with his taste and his gut, and he just makes decisions on the fly. Whereas I'd say Stoops and I probably marinate. We angst over it. Oh, and ah. Theory's just like bang, 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 just taking shots and like, oh, let's see what lands. Yeah, pow, pow, pow. And we're like, what are you doing? And he's like, trust me, it'll work out. And it does. Like,
just take my hand.
Yeah, crazy son of a bitch. Tim Bath. Is that a drum set in the background? Member for 4 months. Thank you, sir. Said, you guys have been doing great. Stream is fire. Win chat. It has been the win chat. Thank you so much, dude. Wrath Sinful with the guitar again said, how much money did you guys blow as kids to beat the Star Wars arcade game?
I never played it.
Never played him at the arcade, but he has a second question, which is Darth Traya versus Dooku. And my money is on Traya in anything but a lightsaber fight, but she doesn't even use her hands for fighting, so who cares?
Yeah, Dooku. I think Dooku probably cuts her into ribbons if they're dueling.
Yeah, but I mean, she duels with 3 sabers without touching them. So I mean,
which is super cool.
It's so badass. Even
they need to do that in a movie. They need to do that in a movie,
right? I thought actually the Jedi Fallen Order Survivor or whatever the shit the game's name is, with the dude with the lost arm when we saw the arm.
Oh yeah, he does kind of do that. Yeah, that is true. You know, in the Force Unleashed, where like you go into rage mode and Starkiller's like, bah, and all the lights, like his lightsabers are spinning around him like a shield. Oh my gosh.
They had some good bosses in the Force Unleashed. Remember that manky dude on, was it Raxus Prime? Who was like built a Jedi Council out of scrap?
Yeah,
like
he went insane. He went insane and he was like, my friends.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, because, you know, you're like so conditioned to love the Jedi. I didn't give a shit. I was like, I'm going to put you out of your misery. Like, I'm helping you by killing you. Who wants to live in a junk pile?
I didn't feel bad for a single Jedi.
Not a second. Rather Sinful. You're just peppering us at this time. I'm loving it. How much money did you guys blow? I just read it. Great one, Dash. Wrath, much love. Rossi, again, talk about pepper. $5 from Rossi. We love Theory because he's real and authentic. Be yourselves and authentic, and the chat will love you for that. P.S. What the F Star Wars? This is an early comment, obviously, back to when we were talking about what Star Wars is doing and us running the show, but we've usurped. If you want to talk about pirates and Star Wars, this is a mutiny, and Stoops and I will fight for the captain status after this stream. Wrath Sinful, he's back. I knew you'd be back. Better MMORPG, Star Wars Galaxies or the Old Republic Galaxies for this. I played the beta in Australia, which is unheard of. I rode my bike for half an hour to my friend's house and stayed there for like weeks. His parents tried to dig me out, but I was buried deeper than an Alabama
tick. Tried to evict you?
I was in there in his brother's room, and we lived in Galaxies. I remember I walked up to this Wookiee and was giving him shit, like so much shit. And he's talking in Shirawak, and I couldn't understand it because I spoke basic. And my friend was translating because he'd learned Shirawak, and he was like, I'm going to the devs. You're going to get banned tomorrow. And I was like, F you, buddy. Come on, let's fight. Oh, my God. That is the greatest like community simulator ever, Galaxies, by far.
I haven't played it. It sounds fun.
They basically sandboxed the community and gave you the tools to run it, but it didn't have any quests. They call it a theme park quest line. Like SWTOR is the antithesis. It's the opposite. They made it fully storyline and single player. Galaxies, it was 100% player driven. So if you needed armor, someone most likely would get the materials. Like you had artisan people that would literally sit there and make the armor, sell it on the bazaar. You'd have to buy it from the questing that you did killing stuff, and you get materials from killing stuff and give it to them. You know what I mean? Like it was almost fully enclosed. The problem is when the player base fell off, or when WoW came out, because it released in 2003, 2005, and you would have been a young nipper back then. 2005 WoW came out and it had theme park and it wasn't so player reliant. When people moved away from it, because it was pretty janky as well with combat and story.
Sounds tedious.
It's the most grindy game, but it's like Stockholm syndrome. The more you put into it, like people, you could have player cities literally outside. So like every city that you go outside of like Anchorhead and Mos Eisley and stuff, players had to pay for and make, and there'll be taxes that they'd have to maintain. So it was a player economy. There was voting. Wow. There was diplomacy. You could vote in a mayor. Like I joined years later a sect called Jedi, but you weren't allowed to have the word Jedi in their title. So the clan was called Jedel with a lowercase L. It was, yeah, I could go on for days. It was just one of those things you had to experience. Wrathful Sinful then asks for $2, did Leia use Force Absorb when she was shot in episode 6? I think she just absorbed that shit into her guts and it did her a number on it, dude.
Yeah, I think she just took a shot.
Yeah, it wasn't a kill shot.
Leia's not Rey, man. She doesn't learn stuff just because.
Yeah, she didn't just get shot and absorb it and go no, and the guy explodes, starts screaming, the power.
That'd be something though.
No, that's how I think that they want to write it. Justin Jaden, I am loving the alliteration. Justin Jaden, cool name, with an angel in the picture for $2 said, "Are we going over the book next week?" I would say I'm probably the person who's furthest along in Darth Plagueis. I've got
I
like
haven't
5.
started Dash.
Yeah. I've been doing it walking, driving the car, in the gym, and I'm like, I know these suckers haven't kept up. I'm going to be the only one. And
It's
then they're going to be
good.
like,
No, I think the Vancouver Expo's next week, so I don't even know if we're gonna have a show. I hope we
dude
do.
is like every week he's doing conventions. I thought I went, wait a second, how does that line up with the Fridays?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Rossi
he's
for
busy.
$2. We are living a real life Star Wars horror movie with Kathleen Kennedy, winky, tongue out face. Beautiful. The fans know what's up.
They're the smart ones.
Wrathful Sinful for $5. Dude, you're like throwing a flurry of these super chats.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. I bet Chewie was pissed in episode 7. His best friend is killed by his own son in front of him. When he finally sees Leia, he gets no hug, no apology, nada.
Ain't right. They didn't know what they were writing.
Didn't they try and make up for it in a later sequel? I forget what happened.
They like make sure Chewie gets the medal or something. It's whatever. It's so on the nose and so unearned.
The next comment is from DM with that famous picture of somebody eating a little corpse thing. You know that horror picture that it's like a painting that's famous and it's like monster. Like
is it the like Kronos eating
child?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I didn't know the history. I just know it from, okay, this is art. This is real art. Hey, Stoops and Dash, only talk about Star Wars. Here we go. Also, out of both, who's got the highest 1 rep max bench? Theory claims 310. Also, what Jedi Sith is the most bro and could bench the most without the Force? Oh, okay.
Malgus would bench the most without the Force.
No,
sure.
Bane. The
You think so?
cortosis mining his whole life. Yeah, Bane is a juggernaut.
Yeah. I don't know. Malgus or Bane. What's your best 1 rep max?
I'm just putting it into pounds right now. 275.
That's great. That's great. That's heavy.
But that's 1 rep max. That's like peak. I don't even think that's that good for general people who train a lot. But
no. 275 is elite, Dash. I was looking at like statistics for it. Something like, is it like 0.05% of the gym population can bench press 225? I think something like that. Something crazy that you wouldn't expect. My best 1 rep is 315 for 1.
Yeah,
I just don't do it. I just don't do it. I don't do 1 rep maxes. I think it's a easy way to snap something, easy way to get hurt, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I really like the eccentric phase of lifts the most these days. You go 1 on the up and I'll do the heavy like count on the 3 down. Like I really let the muscles stretch, and that's will fatigue you so hard. It's you don't need the weight as much. Like you can save so I'm getting older, so you just like, I've never injured myself in a profound or meaningful way, and I never want to. I had friends that would just rep the shit out of stuff and have a bicep tear and be like, oh, well, my pecs come off or I got a grade 2 tear. And it's like, bro, you're out for 6 to 12 weeks and forever will feel a niggle.
You know what's helped me a lot though? Is there are some there are some freaking animals at my gym. Like legit record-setting power lifters. And I'm talking like benching 450. And like helping spot someone at 450. And after you see that in person, it's sort of like, I don't have to
It's
be.
attainable?
Yeah, it's not. I don't think of it as attainable. I don't think I would ever be able to do it. But it's just like these are freaks, and I appreciate it, and I don't like. I don't need to reach to that level because I see what it takes, and I see what those guys have to look like to be able to lift that much is another thing. Like they have to like be just boxes of muscle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. I remember the first dude I ever met, who I was like, "Oh, you're on roids," because I've never seen a story like I've never seen anybody like admit. I had a friend who said he didn't, but like I never had anybody come up to me and be like, "Do you want?" I don't even know how you get into that unless you hit the upper echelon and hang out with those guys enough that they're like, "Hey, do you want to?" So I've never been around that, but the first dude I knew, he was like 6'5" and probably like 300 pounds, and he was covered in like a wrapped around barbed wire tattoo. And I said, "I see you in the gym every day," and he's like, "I train for 4 hours. I eat this, this, and this. I don't have a job. I live on some payments and I live with my mum to maintain the lifestyle." And I was like, Jesus. Like he was just, I'm going to become a pro at any cost. Like there's nothing else. Kind of like that Jonathan Majors movie. This is going to be a sad movie, dude.
Yeah. My one of my good friends at the gym, he's like 20, I want to say he's 22. He played college football and he's never taken a steroid in his life, and he can bench press 400 pounds. It's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Because if you're going above anything over 315, it's super hard to do that unenhanced. Like almost impossible statistically from what I understand. So the fact that he can do it at like 400 and be completely natural. I mean, I'm not testing the guy, but I'm going to take his word for it. Is insane.
It is insane. I feel bad because like the last comment said, stop talking about outside of Star Wars stuff.
Oh,
and then
they?
he told us, DM said, don't only talk about Star Wars, then asked us about oh, he must be joking. Like you told us to talk about this.
Troll.
No win situation. Kronos. Raffle Sin again for $2. Do you guys know Skippy the Jedi droid from episode 4?
Yes, I do know Skippy.
I don't remember Skippy.
The story is that there's the force sensitive droid that is about to be picked by Owen, and he like chooses to self delete so that R2 and 3PO can be picked, but like he senses through the force that that's like its will. It's wild.
R5 at the Jawa thing.
Oh yeah, that's R5. Maybe is Skippy someone else?
No, I'm saying he could be an R5 named Skippy. I'm just like,
oh, I think that's right.
Yeah. When he blows his top and he's like, what are you trying to push on me here?
Yeah, I think that they went back and said that droid was force sensitive in one of the stories.
With what midichlorian? Anyway, it's got a little person living inside it.
Yeah, I guess so. They just blew himself up.
He just blew himself up. He just like they did. Do you ever see Kenny Baker? Was it the guy, the little person that operated R2? Supposedly he was the funniest dude there. Mark Hamill, who is a storyteller, said that dude held court. Like everybody listened to this dude because he's a comedian. And he said in an interview, they used to leave me inside R2 in like the desert of wherever it is in Africa where they film. I can't remember where they filmed, but I was like, that is the cruel. I'm like, he's got to be joking. There's no world in which they'd let that dude cook.
They just let him there.
Oh, can you imagine just cooking your own juices inside an R2 unit, just being like, kill me, and let me out.
The thing that I find funny about that is him and Anthony Daniels were like in a feud for a few years. Remember that? Where it's like they didn't like each other?
That is no, but I remember reading something about it, but I just love the fact that it's like so in character for them.
Yeah. It's great.
Can you imagine being Hollywood executives today? They would love that story. George walking up going, I want to make a movie, Star Wars. And then we're like, what's it about? And they're like, well, it's about a son and his dad. And, but you don't know that yet. And there's a big history thing and family, and he's going to save the world and blow something up. And they go, yeah. What about this? This kind of sounds generic. And he goes, wait. There's a gay droid couple at the start for the first 15 minutes.
And they hate each other.
And he's like, they're like, say less, fam. Here's a quarter of $1 billion. The power of money. Just give him all the money he wants. Because that's what it is for the first 15 minutes is gay droids bickering, which is
a gay couple
amazing.
fighting.
Yeah. In the desert, just wandering around. It's so funny.
A failed vacation.
Like, if that's not proof that it's about the story, I don't know what is. Anyway, Jordan Holland, with what appears to be a man looking at a forest or rain, I can't tell, for $1.99, said, happy to see you all. Happy to see you too, Jordan.
What up, Jordan?
Justin Stewart. It's a dude. And I'm assuming it's Justin Stewart, but he's got a cool AI version of his face that everybody did. Remember when people got AI versions of their face and they had like cool filters and stuff?
I never did it.
That. Never did it. $9.99. Thank you, Mr. Stewart. If you choose any Jedi/Sith master to be an apprentice to, who would it be and why? Much love, gentlemen. Keep going. Great. And then that cool little A hand. Who would I apprentice myself to? Plagueis. Because he wanted me to say six. No, because I've got to be a Sith and kill people. I'm too much of a pussy to do that. You come up with yours and I'll come up with mine.
I mean, I gotta cheat and go Grandmaster Luke from Legends. I know that's not fair, but
I would want to train on Yavin. I think I'd want to be the librarian. I think I'd be too scared to actually go on missions.
Go out.
I would be the dude that has no force powers. I would be the Jedi janitor, the big, good soldiers follow orders. Whatever that old guy says, the Clone Wars, tripping over and getting killed. 99. I know that I'd be gimped so hard. Like, he'd be like, he barely feels the Force, but we let him train anyway because we feel bad for him. I just know it, dude. I'm like,
Oh, yeah. Someone commented you'd be Rick, the door technician.
Yeah, that is me. That is... And my ego, the part of me that feels good about myself, watches these movies and I'm like, I'd be a Jedi master. But then reality sinks in and I think about myself and confrontation. I'll be like,
That's true for a lot of us.
I'm going to stand here and guard this door. That's my calling.
The
whole galaxy. No one's getting. And then as soon as like a Sith shows up, I'm just jumping in.
You're like, I surrender.
Yeah. Cantina Talk for $5. Had a great time meeting Stoops at MegaCon. Dash is next. That sounds like a threat.
It better be. You better keep your threat.
I'd love all three of us, dude. A panel, as you say? I'd love that so much. That would be peak. I'd want people to come up and like we interview people as we do it, shit like that. The way
it would just be fun. We'd get into trouble.
We would get into trouble, but it'd be fun trouble. Endless Abyss for $4.99 with a nice anime avatar, which I'm sure everybody who loves anime knows what it is, but I have no idea. It's a blue-haired girl. It almost looks like a young Cloud Strife as a female. That's wrong. A lot of them start to look the same. $4.99. What would you guys think about a series or movie from the perspective of stormtroopers? Love it. And would have it in Echo Base. And no, it would. I'd love to diversify and switch it up and not make them all idiots or evil, but have like grounded stormies. I think that would be great.
Yeah, no, that would be awesome. I agree with you completely. Make your villains more personal, make the universe feel more real.
Not everybody's a villain though. Like Luke was nearly conscripted character, was it? He was nearly a Stormy. He was like an inch away.
He was going to join.
Kyle Katarn was one. Great story. I mean, Gary the Stormtrooper with his daughter, bringing your daughter to work day. Robot Chicken reference for.
Oh yeah,
yeah, Gary. Oh, Santa Rima with one of the coolest avatars ever with the aviators for $2 says Borgalit.
Indeed.
Nice.
To you.
Deception. Every day, more lies. I love Forrest Whitaker's take on Saw Gerrera. I love Saw Gerrera. I just wanted to watch more of him say Borgalit. He was so nuts. The fact that they put like a reference to Vader, like he'd been damaged kind of like Vader, but in more like of a pathetic way, and I was making him crazy. That was cool, having a crazy rebel who wasn't exactly good. He was a terrorist. He was
in
the definition
Clone Wars
of the
too, which was a cool connection.
He looked a lot different in Clone Wars, but I liked that they didn't give him the stupid blue eyes. You know where people have brown eyes in real life and they put the blue contacts and they make him look freaky,
they
like
look
Brandon
fake.
Routh in Superman, or Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder when he turns Australian again and he's got those horrible blue eyes and he's just like, bro, I don't want to look at this.
I forgot about that. Yeah, he does have blue eyes. I love Tropic Thunder.
I love Tropic Thunder too, but I don't want to do it. No, but I've never heard anybody do an Australian accent that actually hits like it feels wrong to my ear, except for the dude who plays Dennis Reynolds in It's Always Sunny. He randomly plays Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon as a joke, but every Australian that watched
the
it
accent.
Everyone was like, holy shit, he's the chosen one. He's done it. There's just something
Cracked the
off
code.
about it. There's something weird about our accent that's really hard to emulate. Like it's fun to like be like, "G'day, mate. How you going?" Like a really Steve Irwin, but the nuance just they like Robert Downey Jr.'s done Australian twice. He did it in Natural Born Killers. It does not. If he plays Doom as an Australian, I will throw my headset.
I would be surprised.
I was so. If they do it, Latvia somehow is like an offshoot of Australia, a prison colony,
right
2.0.
next to it.
Oh, Tasmania's turned into. Oh man, I'll be so mad.
I would be very shocked.
You'd probably be happy. You'd cheer in the cinema. Yes.
Dash
How
is
you
gonna be
going,
so
Fantastic
mad.
Four? You're all dead, mate. 4 shrimps on my Barbie. Bzz, zap him. Rossi, member for 49 months. Now, just that is huge in and of itself that for 4 years have been supporting the channel.
Ride or die.
Dullard Josh, though my name was Rosie, hence the rose. Are you calling yourself a dullard? No, that can't be right. That's like an insult to your intelligence. I understand that you gave a rose before, but I thought that was romantic because of everybody thirsts over Stoops. Rightly so. He's a gorgeous man. I can say it without Theory around because Theory, well, he doesn't take kindly to my compliments to Stoops. Don't you compliment him in front of me.
Stop.
You stop. His head's already big enough. He gets on my videos. He takes over the comment section. I'm going to send some links in the Discord between us. And dude, you got to look at how many people compliment you on your looks.
Oh, people are nice.
Not
good liars.
I'm
good
like,
liars.
no, get out of here. I'm so excited. I'm like, he won't be single for long. Andy Garcia, member for 20 months. Is that a black and white jester dancing on a log?
I'm having the hardest time finding how far back you are.
I'm going down the list. He didn't even say anything.
That's why I'm lost.
He's just a member for 20 months. Thank you, Mr. Garcia.
Thank you.
Any relation to the guy from Ocean's 11? What is it?
Oh, dude, I saw
the guy from Godfather 3. Something Garcia is a really famous Italian actor.
I don't know.
You know Garcia. You know, bro. Star Wars Infinite, which is a man that we see a lot. Love to see his trooper helmet show up. I don't know what is in Aurebesh around. If you can tell me what's actually around your profile, because there's a ring and it says some stuff in Aurebesh, which is the Star Wars language. I'd love to know. $4.99. He said, hey guys, love the Stoop Dash episode. Also, Stoop, love the content you've done on Ahul Hextofren. Who's Ahul? We'd love to see more. All the best. Who's Ahul Hextofren? Hextrophon. These aren't real words, so give me a bit of leeway.
I'm trying to remember it. I guess I made the video about it. So.
It Fake fan.
Who is it?
He is a human male who worked as a major in the military in the Alliance to restore the Republic around the Battle of Scarif, and he's standing behind Leia in the celebration victory moment. He's like a background character that they put into stuff. Okay, he's in A New Hope.
This guy's trolling.
Rogue One Rebel Dossier, Star Wars The Rebel Files, and Star Wars Rise of Skywalker Visual Dictionary. That's so abstract, dude.
I don't think I made a video on that. If I did, thank you. I just don't remember.
Oh, no. Mojat's back. My Kiwi brother in arms. And I say that because I've got family in New Zealand, so we're basically the same country anyway. Just don't say that to Kiwis. He's donated $5 and said, not only did you commit heresy, Dash, you're also an Aussie. There it is. Thanks, dude. I just said
Shots
that we're like
fired.
brothers. Hashtag cancel heretic Dash. I assume that that's a 40K reference where they're heretics if they don't believe the same thing like the religion. And then laughing face sideways, New Zealand, sunglasses emoji, New Zealand. Just to pour salt in the wound. That
He's going for you, man.
That's okay. That's okay. You
Friendly
know, I show
rivalry.
love. Friendly rival. That's not friendly. He knows what he did. Joey Ebbs, member for 3 months. Does Yoda poop?
Yeah,
Loving
Yoda
this
poop.
already. I would imagine after the Dagobah soup he made, anyone would.
That stuff looks rancid in Empire.
Yeah,
Yoda's like, eat, eat.
Can you make that noise again?
No.
What's that like? Eat, eat. What is that?
I'm never doing that ever again.
That was the greatest. He was so trolly in that. He was so funny. He reminds me of her grandpa. Mine. He's hitting the beat.
He's fighting
So
with
funny.
R2.
Yeah, that's ridiculously.
Give it
and
back.
it's all a show. That was the greatest like setup to show.
Amazing
like,
twist.
Wars not make one great. And you like just hear these little moments of wait a second. I love it. That's a beautiful pooch you got in your profile picture, by the way, Joey. DM is back with £5, which is like 3 times the Australian dollar. I don't know, the pound. I thought you guys were the euro now. I can't keep up.
Can't keep track.
This is why we're fantasy, not real life history. It's just too much, dude. It's overwhelming. Yeah. You're a Jedi with knowledge you have now IRL during the Clone Wars. Which planet would you want to be stationed on throughout the bulk of the war?
What planet has the least fighting?
I was just thinking
Naboo
like
is probably
Talos,
pretty chill.
but Clone
What
Wars.
What happens during Clone Wars on Naboo?
Jar Jar comes back for a minute, doesn't he? You
Oh, and they have that virus thing, don't they? Yeah, they do. I feel like it's pretty chill there, though, right? I guess I am a Jedi. I'm trying to avoid the war. I'm already going into exile.
Yeah. I know the spice mines of Kessel. They'll treat me right there. It's like the worst place to humanly go.
I don't know.
If you have a place, DM, let us know because I don't think anywhere is really safe. I love that he thought it would be heroic and be like, I want to get into the middle of the fight.
Yeah, we're both like, what's farthest away from all the death?
Hiding inside like a ship, like stowaway, crying, rocking the whole time.
He's probably like the front lines of my Gito.
Yeah.
Sorry to
I would
disappoint.
want to be there. I would want to take the blast. That was it. Kiadi was he in Magneto or was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would want to take the shot for Ki. I'm like, fuck that, dude.
It's like I'm running away.
Yeah. Worst ever. Hey, this is why this Sith Council. Cleon Clink 6 with an emblem that means a lot to him because it's a bird with a 6 on it, though I don't know. Is it a phoenix? Let me know, Cleon. Who are your favorite Imperials other than Vader?
Thrawn and Tarkin's cool. He's just a savage. Absolute savage.
I'm trying to think of like, again, all I try and do with this is try and go to the most abstract, silly Imperial that there is. Who is the guy? Oh, Paleon?
Yeah, Paleon, that's like Thrawn's right hand.
I really liked him. I really felt that he was one of the most
smart.
Grounded, intelligent, like you would believe that he was actually pragmatic, where it wasn't just evil. You're just like, okay, I really like him.
Yeah, me too. I like him too. Who's the freaking weird cyborg who they think is Palpatine's son? I'm trying to think of the weird one.
He's like Googling it. While he's getting the Google going, because it's going to take 20 seconds, I'm going to say the next comment because it's quick. It's an anime screaming. It's an anime screaming face from Duarte for $4.99, and he just wrote yeet.
Thank you.
Yeet, my friend.
Yeet as well. Yeet to you too.
Which piece of media was it Cyclops from? I don't even remember.
Triclops. He's from the illegitimate son of Palpatine. He is. This is what Google says. He is named Triclops because he has 3 eyes.
Which novel? What piece of abstract media is this from?
Oh, it's from like the old crazy comic books. Shoot, what is it from? It is. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. Do you know in 2014 when Dark Horse shut down, did you buy the comics then?
Yeah, with the
The bundle?
no, I didn't buy the bundle, but I did.
Ooh.
Did you? Isn't that thing
Yeah,
like it
dude.
was like $200, right? Or
It's
something
like
more?
300 or something. But I was
Oh,
like, I get
geez.
every Star Wars comic and they're going away forever. I was like, I'll save my coins, and like they were so worth it. And then I logged in the other day and I thought they were lost. And I sent their support an angry message saying, I want my comics. And they were like, click the library button, idiot. And I was like, oh, I hadn't used the app in so long. Because, Marvel is like now subscription based. Like you have to, they don't even sell individual comics. They try and make you subscribe. Everything's a subscription. So I thought that they
All
got,
online.
because Dark Horse is coming back or something. I thought that they had co-opted it and then were trying to force me to subscribe to read the comics that I paid a fair whack of money to get back in the day. And I was pissy and I was wrong.
Oh, I found it. He's in the old Legends comics, The Glove of Darth Vader. Have you ever heard of that comic?
That sounds pornographic.
The
No
Lost
glove,
City
no
of
love.
The Lost City of the Jedi. Zarba the Hutt's Revenge.
Anyway, Jordan Holland for $1.99 again says, give me Rogue One, doesn't need to be canon. It is canon.
Yeah. I'm confused.
I like the energy. Cantina Talk again for $5. I probably shouldn't be saying this. This is where I love to get into. We're in the weeds together. But I'm at 270. This talk is honestly starting to turn my mindset around losing weight. Any tips on where to start? See, this is all we want to do is share, because I hate people that act like they're perfect and life isn't hard when it's really hard without making it hard for other people. And I think the shared experience helps. So if you want to give some tips, Stoops, now's the time.
Yeah. First off, it's hard to lose weight. Accept that it's not going to happen overnight, and accept that it's something that you're going to have to put time and effort into. But also, it's freaking worth it, man. Like, your health is going to improve dramatically. Your friends and family are going to notice. And also, just do it for you, dude. Just do it because you want to feel better, and because you're tired of, the current weight that you're at. I've been heavier than 270 before, and I definitely know how hard it can be to start when you're that heavy. And the truth is, you just have to. There's no magic piece of advice that's going to make going for a walk any easier or going to the gym any easier, but it's just something that you have to do. And if you don't do it, it could only get worse. You could be heavier. But if you commit to it now, and you commit to making your life better and to taking the steps to do it figuratively and literally, go for it. Also, set yourself up for success. Figure out exactly how many calories you burn a day without exercise. Figure out how much exercise you can fit into your schedule, and just go from there. Don't think that you have to crack the whole code. Just go out and try, man. Just try. That's all I would say.
Beautifully said, dude. Beautifully said. C15s, which is a bunch of people hugging in front of screens. I can't tell if it's like a Star Wars setting or they're at a sports bar for $4.99. And again, I'm doing this for people who have super chatted, but want to know who's chatted and what, usually it's on the screen. So,
Yeah, so
if we ever run this and we have control and we can see it, I'm not going to describe every picture.
He wants to make sure that you guys know that if you sent the super chat, that it was you. That's what Dash is trying to do.
I just feel like it's kind of nice if they can't be seen. Anyway, just joined. Did you guys lose Theory to the Force? Smiley, winky face. No, we
overthrew him.
Yeah. There is no rule of three. As you know, it's the rule of two, master and apprentice. And so I swore fealty to Stoops when I saw what he did to Theory. I was like, fuck that. I'll just keep that shit away from me.
I told him he was next.
Yeah. One to embody the power, one to crave it. Joey Ebbs again with a beautiful papa, $4.99. The training montage that Bruce Wayne does in Batman versus Superman has never made me want to work out more. Oh my God. And then the fight scene in the warehouse, both of those things, and the music. I've put that fight scene on while I'm doing cardio because that whole thing is crazy. I only do cardio though, 30 minutes rides on the Pello 3 to 4 times a week. Didn't you say you like Pelotons?
You have a Peloton?
Me not.
Great? Oh. Just like this is from the commenter?
Yeah, he
Oh, at
said
the gym.
only do it 3 times the Peloton.
No, if you have access to a Peloton, those things are great. The screen's gigantic. It's really immersive.
Oh, I use them at the gym when I do cardio. I just looked it up. I just didn't know that was a specific name. Kind of like that word that you came up with before. Panelle.
Just inventing words.
Inventing words. Dat Don Otaku's back. The Sith Lord himself. Revan. $2. He says, here, take my money. Lol, would love a script read. He's talking about the Shmi script. I'm open to sharing the Google Doc. It's done. It is actually tuned up. There's no fat on this script, except I was going to say Shmi's ass. That is the worst thing I've ever said in my life. I should be canceled. I'm just waiting for the stream to shut down. If Theory was here, he would press that button, that mutes me and it plays those clips for like 15 seconds. I sit there with this dumb look on my face, like waiting for
the Anakin. The
back.
what?
Yeah. I can't watch any longer.
He sends us to the background. Can't do anything.
Can we just admit that Shmi actress from the Netherlands was really the heart of those? She's really, really good with Qui-Gon and stuff.
Yeah.
Not a well-known actress, but my God, she crushed it. And she had I don't want to say a weathered look, but she was believable as somebody. You know what I mean. You know exactly what I mean. Trust me, they would have written that into the casting call. Woman who is, beautiful. However, you can tell that the toll of being a slave under 2 twin sons had taken it. So wear no makeup or whatever that's exactly what they write. I don't even know how people go into movies like that. When they get like comically like fat people, for example, and they're the butt of the joke. Like in Bruges, when Colin Farrell tells those American people not to go up the stairs, and he goes, "You're too heavy, like you're too big." And they're like, "What'd you call me?" And it's like, "You're too fat. You can't get up." Can you imagine somebody putting out a casting call going, "We need some morbidly obese people to be made fun of." And then, yeah. And for them to go, oh, they actually were played by Irish actors, funnily enough. But
I love In Bruges, by the way.
It's such a good film. I haven't watched that one where he becomes enemies with that same guy. What's it called? The new one.
I know what you're talking about. Same director. It's got like the Barry guy in it too.
Yeah.
What's it called?
The Banshee of
something of Irishem, Banshees of Irishem.
So, anyway, I can't remember. I think that might be another one. Anyway, yeah, imagine reading that and going, "That's me. I can play this role." Like, doesn't your ego take the biggest whack to actually try and audition for that?
I'm sure.
And what if they were like, "No, you're too fat"? And they're like, "What?" And they're like, "No, we need somebody that's 300 pounds, not 600." And they're like, oh,
that would be rough. I don't know how many 600-pound
Well, you know what I mean. Like, you just hear these horror stories, like the most beautiful people in Hollywood, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I got called too ugly for this role or too fat," and they're like just perfect looking people, and you're like, oh.
It's just what Lucas said. Those people suck. The people. Casting directors,
yeah, that casting couch can be. Star Wars: The HoloNet for $5 needs no introduction. Has got a great picture of the HoloNet, and we wanted him to make the HoloNet a real thing on his channel. He said, "Star Wars woke up, said I'm sexy." Oh, this is Stupendous Wave, not Star Wars. Let me read this again. Stupendous Wave woke up, said, "I'm sexy and I know it," which is what motivated him for gym. He's red foo, which is not a compliment. Jokes aside, good to have the boys back again. It's great to be back. Oh, red foo because of your hair? I guess. I was like, I thought he was saying red foo like you were like the LMFAO dude. I'm like, don't do this to him.
I'm already Ed Sheeran. I can't be two people.
Benjamin wearing a cap and it looks like a candid picture. You remember when people used to take pictures and they weren't ready for them? It was like people hanging out and they look up like, "Oh, there's a camera."
Yeah, that's his profile.
It's like the ancient, yeah. But that's that was normal in like the 90s before until selfies became a thing. And now everybody's perfect and manicured and angles. Anyway, Benjamin for $10, thank you, Benjamin, said, "I still use the Force to open auto magic doors when I walk through them."
You have to. I do too. The grocery store, every time.
Dude, I have spoken to people at a convention I went to Orlando Celebration, and I was locked out, and there was a block of people trying to get in, and I talked my way in, and I did the hand movement just for my own sick amusement, and I got in.
Hey, man.
He's probably thinking, this dude's pathetic. He reminds me of that clone that's going to die. That's shit. Maybe I feel pity for him. Let him in. But it does feel good to do the force power things. You want it so bad. That Dano Taku, he's now haunting us for another $5, said force teleport and force phase are good and interesting force powers. Yeah, if you're talking about like esoteric, like what was Cardis could do flow walking backwards into the past and shit.
Yeah, they do some wild stuff. Yeah.
And didn't he, or was it Luke, became one with the Force at one point?
Yeah, they do. The NJO books do some really fun stuff with the Force. Do you remember how Anakin dies in those books? He like lets the Force consume his body to like hold the Vong back. He like lets it flow unencompassed through him.
Oh yeah, I was thinking Anakin, and then I realized what you did to the kid, and I was like, oh yeah, my brain. That's how conditioned we've been by Disney. There's only one Solo, like it's just Ben.
Yeah.
Eddie Cervantes for $2 and a hand-drawn eagle that is actually impressive that he's done it with a pencil. Writes, Nihilus's vampirism is a dope ability. I don't agree with you, Eddie. I think that consumption consumes you as much as it consumes others, and you have to die. There's a terrible, 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 terrible price. You think world eating's awesome until you realize he's a floating corpse, and the only thing that's material about him is the mask. For me, that's horrible. Takes more than it gives.
Is this Nihilus?
Nihilus, yeah. He's an aberration, like Scion. Alex's random content is a new member, and he has a blacked out profile picture. It's just a solid color. Proscore 64 with something that looks like, why am I describing this? It's like a corporate symbol. As a member for 1 month, it is indescribable. Reading EU comics, playing EU games, and EU books to finish, and they're really a pure masterpiece. Really love you all with all of my heart. That's back at you, dude. I feel the love for the content of the EU. What they achieved back then is the golden age, and we never knew that it wasn't going to come back for so long. I feel it, and I feel the love that we share as a community. You guys literally what hold it together. I think that's all we've got is each other at this point.
Yeah, we absolutely do. If you want me to read some, Dash, I can.
We've only got like 6 left. Go not.
Yeah, that's why I asked now, because I knew there were only 6 left.
No. Now you got to describe the pictures though, because I want to hear how your brain works.
All right, fair. Galactic Spike with $50. Thank you, Galactic Spike. Your avatar is another anime character.
It's Chi-Chi.
Chi-Chi. I'm not a Dragon Ball guy. Sorry.
It may not be Chi. Then I'm in trouble. Anyway, sorry. Keep going. You fumbled the bag.
I did already. Wave. I feel you when it comes to being heavy. COVID, I put on a lot of weight. Yeah, I feel that. Yo,
what's up, baby?
Are you at like the convention center?
You guys still streaming? Yeah, we're setting up, bro. We've been here all day.
Oh,
we got Sham literally editing the vlog right now. We got Cody, I don't know, injecting some drugs or something. It's a much smaller setup than the States, but it's looking fresh. So like, testing out our Canadian stuff, talking about it. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, so we're getting ready. We got a new 5-foot sign, which is badass.
Oh, hell
so
yeah.
I'm gonna put that up there. Yeah, maybe I can turn it around. There we go.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's gonna look sick.
Are you shocked we're still going?
Yeah, I was just doing some stuff, and then Nick was like, "They're still going." I'm like, "Damn, that's crazy, dude." It's wild.
Yeah. Look, I've been respectful of your channel. Like, Wave has been out of control. If you get a copyright strike, it's Wave.
It's all my fault.
Whatever, bro. Who cares? It's all good.
That's cool. Are you excited? It's your hometown.
Yeah, it's my hometown. Yeah, of course I'm excited, man. Excited to see my own peoples, dude. So
Is,
just getting set up and
you bringing the whole team out again, or
huh?
you bringing the
What?
whole squad out, whole team?
No, dude. It's just 4 of us. It's like it's tiny, bro. We're just just a few of us. So we got Sham, we got Nick going out getting drill, and we got Cody. It's just the 4 of us. So.
Shoot, is it tomorrow the first day, or
Tomorrow's the first day, so we're just setting up. Oh, let me show you the tablecloths. They turned out pretty good.
Is Sham the one? He films and edits all the videos. These cool documentary vlogs, don't you, dude?
Yeah. Vlog from today.
A brilliant job. There's
I
only one
don't.
thing I'm gonna.
He's busy. I don't let him talk to people. I don't let him talk to anyone. Right now.
The only thing I feel bad about him is I went to go follow him because I thought this dude's great, and he has to fight the official ShamWow for the title, like in Google.
I know. The tablecloth's not bad. And then we got that over there. We chilling, bro. How you guys doing? How are you enjoying streaming? Just the 2 of you.
It's hard, dude. We haven't said anything to each other for the last 3 hours and 30 minutes.
just been sitting here.
Silence.
How many people we got about 1,200 people. Okay, cool.
They're waiting for us to crash and burn. They're just like watching us sweat, just like it'll happen soon.
They're like, yeah, we don't want you here anymore, Theory. You get the fuck out of here.
I tried to stop Dash from talking about his Shmi story, but he just keeps repeating himself.
The clapping
Can't
that you
stop
did, do it.
It's like back in the day when you used to make all those videos, like what did Jabba do with Leia or something like that.
They're my favorite videos. What happened to Vader's junk after he got burned up?
Yeah, he loves that kind of stuff, man.
It's peak content. Oi, it's popped up on screen.
There you go.
Well, that's because I'm here now. I got to give you both access so that when I'm not here, you can also. I wonder if you have access to pop shit up. I don't know.
Dash has been describing the icons the whole time.
Painfully. That's why we've been here 3 hours describing everything.
Probably sounds sick. That's V10.
That's a V10.
You can instantly hear that.
That's sick.
Hell yeah.
Oh no, it's outside. Pretty sure it's outside. Are they any luck?
Yeah.
They won't give you one. Anyways, I don't want to.
We sent me to a booth and they didn't have them either.
I won't crash your guys' stream, so I'm gonna. Hey, oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
for
our
us.
stream.
Yeah, our stream.
So rude.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, right there's fine. I'm gonna take him moving back here. Sandbags, boys. Oh yeah, let me get out of here. Apologies, everyone. All right, have a good stream.
Oh, no. The main
How do I
guy.
How do I get my?
How do I get out without ending it? Got to get ready if he's going to end it by accident.
Boom.
He's
No,
still
wait,
here?
that just removed me. Hold on. How did I do this last time? Hmm.
Now he's
Wait.
trapped.
I got it.
No way.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was. I honestly thought he was going to end it. I was like, oh.
Just kick us out.
Well, honestly, I was like, oh, we should probably end in about 10 minutes. Like get all through the super chats and then probably pack up. And then he showed up and I was like, oh god.
I'll go fast. Backroads and Butterflies, new member. Thank you, man. Looks like a rock quarry of some kind. I'm not.
It's harder than it looks.
No, it's
like
hard.
rocks in a forest. But
Because
no,
you're
I'm
on
not
the
doing
spot.
it. I'm not
too.
jumping on top of you, dude. I'm not doing it. You're doing a great job.
The very best with $2. Thanks, boys. Love all your channels. Please don't stop. I don't think we plan to. Thank you. And it's a
Thank you,
green
sir.
tea. Rossi. No, I meant Josh was a dullard and thought my name was pronounced Rosie, not Rossi. Nerdvengers started using the rose for me and it just stuck. Nerdvengers for life. Oh, nice.
Isn't it funny how like a nickname is born out of like something that you don't want it to be, but it's like when it naturally
Just
happens, it's like
happens.
you're done. You're cooked. It has happened.
All right, we got the very best again. Thank you. With another green tea. If I ever finish the 2 books I'm writing, could I send it to you both of you get your guys' opinions? One sci-fi, one fantasy. Sure, yeah. I mean, you can find my business email and send it over for sure. Yeah, please.
Yeah, send it to Stoops first. He'll read it,
And then
he'll
I
get him
will
to
send
get
it
me
to
the
Dash.
synopsis. Yeah.
I will summarize it to Dash.
Summarize it. I'll
Busy
just sit
man.
there lying there, just sunbaking, listening, and be like, good, very good, very good.
Very nice.
Yep.
The very best again. Thank you, man. With another $5. How similar do you think Crate and Revan are? And Stoops, will there be a comparison vid with the Archivist? Last time I'll ask. Yeah, I can do a comparison video. Crate and Revan. I don't know. To me, they both
Apples and oranges.
Yeah,
really.
they're super different in a lot of ways. I mean, Crate is a lot more selfish than Revan is. Revan's a little bit more altruistic, turning for the greater good. Crate is more so about revenge. I know they have the same lightsaber form, so there's that. And they both use
What is that, Neiman?
Yeah,
Why do I know that?
because you're a nerd.
Yeah, I know.
The very best that was the last one. Sorry. Thank you. It is harder than it looks. M Skywalker 07. Damn it. Team USA lost. Sorry, man. As a fellow member of the United States, I feel your pain. Or maybe you're not from the US. Maybe you're just a US hockey fan. Wrath Sinful. Theory gonna flip if this is the longest stream. It's not going to be the longest stream. I think we're wrapping up now, but it's been super fun. I think we went
flew by.
Yeah, we went way longer than I thought we were. But that's what you want, right? It would suck if it was the other way around. Rossi sent $1. Thank you, man. Goat status. Oh, you changed it to the picture to the three of us. Me, Theory, and him. That's awesome. Wrath Sinful. Dash, were you a Twi'lek dancer? I was a creature handler, and when I was bored, I'd have my EP named I'm with Stupid Follow People. They're pre-servers.
Look, I'll tell you this, and I have to go in literally 9 minutes, so I'm shooting myself in the foot for this.
We're almost done.
I was I had a friend who was a Zabrak brawler. My first character was into guns. And we went to Anchorhead, or Mos Eisley, I think it's Anchorhead, and would always see this really fat, like the biggest body Rhodian dancer called Fabu. And everybody loved Fabu. And my friend and I pretended to get in a quarrel because we both loved Fabu. And then we fought over Fabu in the cantina, and Fabu came out to the wastes with us to hunt Ronto in our underwear. This is a true story. And he actually said, we love you, Fabu. Like, because we're in rooms next to each other, we made this stupid thing up because he's clearly trolling people, being the largest Rhodian that there was to dance around. Anyway, the dude asked halfway through us hunting in our underwear, he said, "You guys aren't serious, are you?" Like, he thought that we're like weird and like loved him and shit. We're like, no, this is funny, dude. But yeah, so the best times happen in the galaxies that we should never mention again.
The Texas Ranger, Legends Luke versus Lord Starkiller. Who wins in a 1v1? If it's Legends Luke, I mean, Luke just mops the floor with Starkiller, in my opinion.
There's a missed one of Wrathful above.
Oh, yeah. Name of a guy who didn't shoot down R2 and 3PO. Fail. What is his name? What is that?
I don't know.
The HoloNet Theory 2025. Is that a lightsaber in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
Right? He wouldn't be surprised with this shit. The amount of stuff we come up with is just so bad.
Eddie Cervantes. Thank you.
See, he got me with that too. I'm like, Cervantes? No, it's Cervantes. Like,
DM, planning on playing KOTOR for the first time after I'm done with The Witcher 3. What's the recommended first playthrough character type I should go with? What do you think, Dash? Inquisitor's pretty fun.
I hate to ruin it. If you want to go through as a soldier the first time and then Guardian, because obviously strength goes to strength when you're going to hit things. If you want to play it, like, just play it however you want the first time, Consular, Sentinel, Guardian, whatever you want. The second time, make sure you don't level up till you hit Dantooine. It's harder to play through the Taris, the beginner world, and the first ship, the Endar Spire. But if you can hold off leveling up, you can dump all the points into the Force stuff. So that's just my advice. Play through however you want the first time. Second time, hold off.
Dat Darn Otaku says, to quote Kreia, Jabba made Leia suffer indignities. Sorry, I should wear my glasses if I'm going to.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. Like, I'm not naturally into like underhanded stuff that's like, like really over the top. But the thought, I just couldn't make sense of why Jabba, a slug, would want a humanoid. I don't care how sexy she is. That doesn't make sense. And so then I read about it in the novels and realized it was about clout, and he was showing off to because other Hutts were like, you're gross, dude. Why don't you lick slugs like the rest of us? So that's where it became. And he even tried to palm her off to Boba. He's like, hey, Boba, you want a piece of these cheeks? And Boba was like,
no.
She's no good to me alive. He was a really weird guy.
Super weird.
Yeah.
Galactic Spike said, I'm going back to your first super chat. Wave, I feel you when it comes to being heavy. COVID, I put on a lot of weight. Then in 2023, mom said my face was fat, so I went on a diet real hard at first. I went to the gym every day and dropped a lot of weight. Now I'm toned out and building muscle. Dude, congratulations. What you did is not an easy thing to do. So the fact that you did that, you went and you lost weight, don't just think of it like, oh, I got to do more. Like, take a second, be like, damn, I'm proud of myself. Good job. I mean,
agreed. Great job.
We've all been there too. Good job, Galactic Spike. And thank you for the $50 and then the other $5.
It's crazy.
That's very generous of you. Jabba the Hutt. Can you guys review Star Wars Underworld parody? We will convene as a council and come back with a decision. But thank you for the $2 and your very chubby cat. Joey Ebbs. You guys are the best collab with Theory since Josh. Glad you guys connected. Great content. Thanks. Nerd Avengers for life. Thank you, Joey. Outer Rim Transmissions. Working on a what if screenplay about Balin meeting Maul. That would be epic. Great responses so far. Would love to get your guys' thoughts on it. Yeah, send it to you can find my business email in my YouTube channel and send it. And I'll take a look. And then I will read it to Dash.
I've got the greatest job ever. It's because, I'll just be like, yeah, that makes sense. It doesn't make send him these notes.
All right, last one. It looks like from the HoloNet. By the way, Dash and Stoops, you both on the Theory Discord. I'd love to share my story and content with you guys and get your take. I'm not yet.
I'm not either, to be honest.
Dude, he's gatekeeping the Discord. What?
He's gatekeeping the Discord. We've only got a chat between us. That's the literally. I don't think Stoops knows how to use Discord. Don't you have a picture of an orca killing something?
No, I have a picture of a black cat attacking a great white. Is my.
Oh yeah.
But all right, guys. Thank you. This was fun, Dash. 4 hours, just the two of us. That's lit.
Yeah. Look, like I said, we get along a little too well. Here's the problem, though. I've got 3 minutes. I've got to go help with something in 3 minutes. But don't we have to stay on, both of us? Otherwise, Theory ends it. Or can we end it ourselves? Or will it stay on without us? Because if I was
just going to hit leave studio and then text him that we were done.
Okay. Well, thank you for enduring the Council of Two, the Master and the Apprentice.
Oh, we got one more, I think. Secret hidden in the sand. Here's a test for you two. Have you heard of CPX? C3PX. I have not.
Is that the assassin droid? No. What's that Disney one called? Do you remember there's a bad version of C3PO and the R2 unit? It was weird. And the Indiana Jones girl had, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank too. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. The very best sent $5.
I was right. I just Googled it.
You were right? Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thanks for reading the chats. You're both right, Kay, and are different. No worries about the video, Stoops. Yeah, sorry about that. All right, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by the stream tonight. The Rule of Two. We've loved spending time with you. And we'll keep you updated if we'll be here next week. And if not, we'll be here the week after. Every Thursday at 8 p.m. All right. Good night, guys.
Much love. See ya.